Sit back and get ready to have the most fun you ever had with an electronic device. All right, everybody, welcome out to the Get On With It Sports Show. It is Wednesday, February the 16th, 2022. Jersey Johnny coming at you. With me, as always, is none other than Mr. Radio Pete and Mr. Harry Lug Nutz. Say hello, gentlemen.
Hello. Hello, gentlemen.
How are you guys this evening?
Great.
Any fallout?
Center.
Any still lingering fallout from the Super Bowl?
You know,
Other than aggravation?
I didn't really care.
Yeah, probably not.
You know what? It was a good game, and
It was okay.
whatever. The bad guys won, so, you know.
The bad guys won. So,
I got to watch Odell Beckham cry.
There you go. Yeah.
Got to watch Mary J. Blige fall on a diorama. I mean, it was pretty exciting.
There you go.
Yeah.
All in all, a good night.
Yeah.
There you go. Gotcha. All right. Well, we can get it started. It's probably a shorter show tonight.
Good.
Than we've been known to do recently with all the football, since it was just one game to talk about, and a lot of it we talked about last week and on Sunday. So, Pete, did you eat too much chili on Sunday?
No. No.
This is the only podcast with random trombone sounds
Absolutely.
emanating through.
You can't get better than that.
Yes.
Anyway,
To get on with it and trombone podcast. You know, I had a very interesting. Normally, we go over to the in-laws for the Super Bowl,
right?
But we went to some friend's house. We have a couple couples, and they have kids, and our kids know each other from school, so we hang out. And
Right.
One of the women is literally a world-class pianist, and has performed some of my son's compositions, and I think she accompanied him on violin for NISMA one year, and blah, blah, blah.
Nice.
And they're nice people. We liked them very much. But it was a very different experience.
Okay.
This is the friend's house with the beer on tap and stuff.
Yes.
But no one, well, my wife and I and one of the other women were interested in the halftime show. No one else was interested in the halftime show. And there were a couple of their friends there as well. So I don't know, about 6, 8, 10 of us all together, maybe.
Right.
No interest in the halftime show. And one guy just kept harping on, I guess Snoop has a new song coming out in which he's talking about taking guns and going to shoot the police. And so he was upset, of course, that Snoop was on the halftime show. Not that he was watching it anyway.
Right.
And so it's just kind of it was a little more of a whiter vibe than I'm used to.
He was hoping for 38 special.
Maybe.
No pun intended. Yeah.
But,
no pun intended there. Exactly.
yeah, but the food was really, really good.
Of course.
And unfortunately, the owner of the house has a man cave, and it has a projector TV with a gigantic, movie theater size screen. And It's got the raised platform with the 3 reclining chairs, and then a little couch over here, and I got a whole rack which looks like a 70s a band setup. He's got compressors and receivers and all this stuff over there,
Right.
and surround sound everywhere. And then right at halftime, the bulb blew
On the projector.
on the projector. I was sitting in the room. People were coming in and out, going to get trips to get food, and pop! Just a classic movie sound, and no picture. And so we had to go watch the rest of the game.
He had to go in the kitchen.
And then
and
we were all
crowd around the 3-inch.
Yeah,
black and
watching
white.
it.
around.
Phones.
I mean, it was a good, I don't know, it's probably a 40 some odd inch. So, but yeah, so it was a new experience. I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
They're really nice people, and all I would say fairly liberal like myself, but not interested in the old school rap.
Not so much, huh?
So,
Gotcha.
I mean, I'm usually not interested. I mean, other than Prince, The Who, and Tom Petty, it's like it's been slim pickings. It's never been great,
Right.
yeah.
Oh, the Super Bowl. I mean, a lot of people have been saying it over the last couple of weeks, and I always think it too. Bruno Mars in what was it, 8 years ago? I guess.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
And Red Hot Chili Peppers came out with him, so I mean, it wasn't a bad show. That was decent, but.
I liked when Fugazi played with the Minutemen. That was my favorite halftime show.
I brought up too and foreshadowing our list tonight. This Super Bowl might be on there. Was it 95? The 49ers and the Chargers. It was Tony Bennett was the halftime show. So it was interesting.
Was that with Lady Gaga?
No, that was just Tony on his own.
Oh, okay.
All by himself.
I think people have too much time on their hands if they're going to worry about
who's in the
halftime show.
Yeah. I saw a meme yesterday that said with everybody's complaining about the halftime show, Pepsi announced next year's lineup already. It's Aha, ABBA, Willie Nelson.
You heard people complaining about it? I heard everybody saying how it was the best one ever.
No, just it was a joke, obviously.
Yeah, I know.
The Bangles.
I was trying to cut the joke.
Well, dude, that's kind of the opposite of what this year's. I think they're looking for the opposite audience with those groups.
Right, but it was like every other group except for rap is what it was. It was represented in all of that.
Yeah, I don't know. Whatever. It's
good. I mean,
I understand.
It's better than fucking country music.
If you think about it, Dr. Dre's almost 60.
Yeah, this wasn't. I mean, the Super Bowl halftime show is always for a crowd in their 40s, 50s, and older.
Yeah, it's never.
If not, we would have had
Kendrick Lamar is not
Megan the Stallion.
No, he's the youngest of all of them.
Yeah. Right.
Who?
Kendrick Lamar is the youngest of all of them.
Yeah, they threw him in. He's like the new drummer. When your drummer's arm falls off, you get a new drummer.
Right.
Yeah. I tell you what, the most talented musician on that stage was Anderson .Paak, who was playing drums.
Playing the drums, yeah.
With he's actually an excellent drummer who was playing the drums with Eminem. And I thought Eminem was really. I mean, I thought they were all great. It's the same thing. It's like little snippets. And why were they in dioramas? And the people on the other side of the stage couldn't.
That was the
see
whole.
them.
What was that, Compton or something like that? That was the.
I get it, but it just people overcomplicate things. Just get on a stage and play. Right. Play a whole song. I don't need to hear 27 songs in 30 seconds. Just play
27 songs in 30 seconds.
Yeah, that's kind of like what the point of the halftime show is supposed to entertain us, I guess, but you don't have to cram so much into it.
Yeah,
just come out, do it.
Just do it, and
yeah.
Come out. I didn't know Dr. Dre played the piano.
I did. I wasn't aware of that either, but maybe Alicia Keys taught him.
I don't know. I don't think Alicia Keys had anything to do with it.
No, probably not. But I threw it in there. It was almost 33 minutes halftime.
Yeah, so have everybody come out, do one song, do their 4 or 5 minutes, and whatever. Then they all can sing a duet or something at the end.
It was certainly better than most. I mean, halftime shows, but my expectations are My expectations are very low. I mean, Prince was probably the best. Michael Jackson was great. I remember back in the day. I mean, Prince sort of blew. Prince was so amazing that I think he only played one of his own songs. I think he did like 3 covers.
He did a bunch of covers in one of his own songs. Yeah.
I guess the thing for me is just when people can't separate, the politics or whatever.
But what politics are there?
Well, just the idea of
I know a ton of
everything's
rap,
politics now. Everything's
politics. And
the
lyrics and the violence and
do people really listen to the violence? Like, okay, so it's like.
Well, the violence in the lyrics, what I'm talking about.
The violence in the lyrics.
In other words, they can't appreciate they don't seem to look at the music and go, okay, it's just music. And yes, he's singing about shooting a cop, and they've all. I mean, I don't think Mary J. Blige ever sang about shooting a cop, but pretty much everybody else has talked about stealing and robbing and fuck the police and all that stuff. Mm-hmm. But I mean, they're artists now. Yeah, I mean, they're singing. None of them ever actually went out and did it, but people find that offensive and they can't get past that, and so they just can't enjoy the music.
That's what you get for listening to lyrics.
Well, I guess so,
yeah. If
I don't hear a backbeat and a bass line, I'm like, I'm out.
But I mean, if there was a country artist doing the halftime show,
and the country artist just dumb it down. God bless America, the great.
Right, but I mean, I'm not a fan of
my truck and
not a fan of country music, but I would listen to it.
I mean, if Johnny Cash was still alive and he came out and did a set, or Steve Earle came out, or Bocephus, or there's plenty of. My point being is that we're placating a very slim margin of musical artists, and if you really want, if you're complaining that somebody's too, everybody's like, oh, thank God it's not a bunch of old bands. I'm like, what the hell are you talking about?
Yeah,
it's just they're just the new old bands playing
a bunch of old bands again. Yeah, Dr. Dre's almost 60. What do you mean that's not the?
Yeah, and who cares?
A bunch of old bands.
I mean,
I couldn't care less either. I'm just saying for the people that are saying that anyway.
Most people were most of the comments that I heard about the halftime show was how great it was and how So
I
think that's most of America. I think we're moving. It's like whatever your politics are. I think you could still get into a classic Snoop Dr. Dre song. I think most people would agree on that.
Right.
Well, yeah, I don't know. I guess people just object to whatever.
Yeah.
Whether it's, anti-police messages or whether it's smoking weed messages, that covers a lot of ground for them.
I think they're just
not smoke weed.
I think they're just reflecting on the reality that they see. And so maybe that they should.
I don't disagree with that. I'm not trying to defend people. I just say they can't.
No, I understand that.
Can't get past. They can't get past it. It's a shame because you're missing out on Eminem. The stuff Eminem writes is like some of the most horrific stuff, right? About killing his wife in front of his kid and all, dumping the body and all this, and but it's a brilliant creation. You know what I mean? Like not anybody could do that and make that fit, and then to make that come out of his mouth the way it does, it's an awesome skill.
I'm pretty sure I remember Axl Rose singing lyrics that went along like the lines of "I used to love her, but I had to kill her.
Yeah, I mean,
I had to put her 6 feet under."
Go back.
So
there's plenty of
nothing
songs,
new.
Plenty of classic rock songs that are this age demographic loves and remembers from the 70s and 80s and stuff that were.
At least it wasn't the Black Eyed Peas
and violent and all that stuff. We don't, they don't think about that. They only think
I didn't have to listen to Gwen Stefani sing Bananas, so I was all right.
Yeah, or sing anything for that.
Yeah,
there you go. All right. There was one thing
Devo. I heard if they make it into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, are going to perform at the halftime show next year.
I hope so.
Yeah,
I do.
So, I mean, that would be.
And they're going to do Whip It.
They might not.
I would love for them to come out and do a couple songs that almost no one knows, or at least
Uncontrollable. They're just going to do a 20-minute version of Uncontrollable Urge.
There you go. Just something new, something they've written completely off book that's brand new.
Yeah, Mark Mothersbaugh score for that. Yeah.
Exactly. Anyway, all right. A couple things really quick before I actually get into the game talk. I'm glad we talked about halftime. Got that done. Baseball wise, not that I just want to bring it up because yesterday was supposed to be pitchers and catchers report.
Yeah, they reported, right?
They reported somewhere.
They reported on Channel 4 News
that nothing has happened.
Right? Exactly. They reported.
Actually, I heard today there was supposed to be a meeting Saturday, and they're scheduled it for tomorrow. The Players Association.
Yep.
But I also heard that they just meet by Zoom. It takes 5 minutes, and nobody's talking.
Yeah, they just look at each other, say, "All right, we'll try again on Saturday."
Yeah, but nothing meaningful is getting done. They're not getting locked in a room, et cetera, et cetera. And our friend, the former Met, Marcus Stroman, I don't know if you saw his comments.
Today, I didn't see anything today.
I forget exactly what he said, but he said something about, and it's some other players who've taken a shot at Rob Manfred.
Mm-hmm. Well, everybody's taking a shot at Rob Manfred because
but the point that the pundits I was listening to were making is like he's getting his marching orders from the owners. So why aren't you criticizing the owners? Why aren't the players criticizing the owners? Because they're the ones that aren't budging,
right?
But Manfred always takes the heat because he's the commissioner, but he's really just a figurehead,
right?
As we know well. But that was their point. It's like why don't you say something? I don't know who owns the Cubs, but what you call the owner of the Cubs out, and of course he's not going to do that because he just got a contract for him. So.
Right, of course.
But a little bit of hypocrisy there. They want to it's
a lot of hypocrisy.
The commissioner's always the punching bag. So, but it's not. He has to negotiate this stuff. But Well, and the other point they made is, could you imagine if Manfred or any commissioner, particularly him, just negotiated a settlement with the players that he thought was good?
Mm-hmm.
He'd be fired in a second.
2 seconds.
Because it wouldn't be what the owners wanted.
Yeah.
Might be some of what they wanted, but not. He'd have to, and actually came up with a compromise and made a good plan that the country would look at and go, that's pretty good. That addresses a lot of these issues.
Brilliant. Yeah, exactly.
It's a little bit of this, a little bit of that. Everybody gets some of what they want. Compromise. That's it. He'd probably be fired before the thing could be signed by the owners. So what else can he do except, represent their interests? And they don't want to budge.
I just hope they get it done soon because
they won't.
It's horseshit. It really is.
They won't.
But we'll see what happens. They got the universal DH, so they're happy about that. So
yeah, great.
But
whatever.
Hey, does it make sense? Kind of. I thought about it too. I don't know if you saw we talked about it, but they said for what does it mean for the Mets? It means that that they actually have options now, and
they're losing one of their best hitters.
But they're losing one of the best hitters in Jacob deGrom. But however, you think about it, a lot of people are saying that some of the injuries that he actually did wind up with last year over the last couple of years could actually be due to his range of motion with swinging a bat as opposed to throwing a baseball. So it might actually help him, benefit him. But you also get a professional hitter to bat. It's not like you're going to call up somebody from Double-A to hit in his place. It's going to be somebody that should be as good, if not better, than of a hitter than Jacob deGrom.
And there's no rule saying you can't have Jacob deGrom be the DH when he's not pitching.
When he's not pitching, right? It could be a Shohei Ohtani.
Yeah.
I was like, all right, players, you really want all this stuff? That's great. Then we're going to give it all to you. But every pitcher has to pitch 6 innings, no matter what. Every starter has to pitch 6 innings, and let's start there. Let's start with some other rules that'll change.
Well, yeah. Now you're going to have the universal DH, and everything's just going to become more and more specialized,
right?
And that's just a bad trend. I don't care.
Well, it's already that way.
Yeah. It is, but this is just going to make.
I don't mind the universal DH. I think the DH is better at the game. It's given people what they want a little bit more. It is different. I understand the purity of having the pitchers hit, but it makes the game kind of messy. And I think it does in some ways. It's harder to manage in the National League. That's for sure, especially with not having the DH, but it does sort of junk up a lot of, it puts you in weird situations with playing time and having to substitute players that you don't want to, but you have to, and it's okay. I'm all right with it. I'm all right with the universal DH.
I'm not incredibly.
I'm also okay if they don't start baseball until July, so I don't care.
I am not. However, I need my opening day in April.
Well, you're not going to get it.
It might be April 30th.
Yeah, you're not going to get it.
Yeah, we'll see. All right, and the only other thing in baseball is you see all the Matt Harvey headlines.
Yeah, well, he did cocaine. That's hard to believe.
Wow, who cares?
Somebody on the Mets did cocaine.
Yeah,
that's not just the Mets.
Well, no,
the Mets were one of the.
They
were good at it.
Matt Harvey was in the wrong decade for
that. Prolific. I don't know. I'd say they were prolific at it. Perhaps
he got turned out. He got turned on to it at an old timers game.
Yeah.
He wanted to go old school.
Right.
It's like steroids.
DiPietro said that he tried to warn him about it because they were good friends. I guess they still are friends, but he saw what was happening to him and tried to warn him about it. But you get in it, and one of the things he said is, you get people who they want to go out. They want you to go out because you're their golden ticket. Once you're a star, you're their golden ticket to get in anywhere.
Sure.
Right? So you and the entourage are like, come on, let's go out, let's hang out, let's do this, and I got some coke and blah blah blah.
Matt Harvey's to your golden ticket to go out.
Well, when he was at that time,
9 years ago, when
he was one of the he was one of the kings.
Yeah, but he's also in New York. Like if there was 10 celebrities lined up, he would be the one that no one would recognize.
Right, but my point is, those people that are his friends that he knows,
I get it.
They're calling him up and going, "Come on, let's go to the club, let's hang out with supermodels, blah blah blah," because he can open those doors that would never open for those people.
Well,
Or remember
Supermodel's door definitely opens.
And
with
right,
This
and
is
no one is pulling him aside and going, "Hey, man, you got to stop doing so much drugs. You know, you're recklessly, according to the reports, recklessly doing drugs during the season." And it's even Strawberry, and I think Doc, or maybe it was Doc, came out and said, "Yeah, it tears down your muscles. You don't have time to heal, to recover. You don't get sleep because you're out partying."
Yeah, you're up grinding your teeth all night.
Right. So, but he
Acting
didn't have
like
anybody.
a vampire when the sun comes up.
Pietro said he tried to warn him, but he still went down that out. And then there was there's a kid that died, right, from what he OD'd or something.
Some pill that he got through from somebody else. From I don't know. Harvey was involved with it. Something. Yeah.
So Harvey had to testify. He got immunity, but so a very ugly situation. But he did admit on the stand that he was using coke, and
it's a shame. But what are you going to do? I mean,
just
remember you talk about I mean, for what happened to his career is what I was saying.
Right.
But not just that usage, but and just remember, supermodel wise, his supermodel girlfriend did leave him for Julian Edelman. So there you go. Anyway,
Edelman had better cocaine.
Apparently.
Listen, it's a cautionary tale. So.
Exactly. All right.
Never cheap out on the.
Never
cheap out.
Never go cheap. Yeah.
Know your dealer.
Exactly. Know what you're buying. All right. On that note, all right. Let's move back into football. Let's kick it off with the quiz. This week's quiz, last football quiz of until August or September, I guess probably. But unless we sneak one in there. This week we're doing best Super Bowl MVPs of all time.
Oh, this is just their performances in the Super Bowl?
In those Super Bowls. Not the players that they are, the performances in the Super Bowls. I'm not giving specific Super Bowls, just, what they meant to the
Doug
games
Williams.
they were. Here we go. I'll give you a list. I'm giving you 6. You got to keep 4. 2 got to go.
All right.
Here we go. Write them down. Here we go.
All right, go.
Tom Brady. Shocker. I know the first one off Pete's list.
Okay.
I love the music I have backing me up to this.
Mm-hmm.
Steve Young.
How many Super Bowls did Young play in? Just one, right?
1.
What are we? These are just we're picking quarterbacks that played in Super Bowl.
Not quarterbacks. Super Bowl MVPs.
Name 4 of the guys on this list that you would buy cocaine from.
No, that Matt Harvey would buy cocaine from.
Well, I think that's all 6.
There you go. Joe Montana.
Okay.
Not Joe Montana. Joe Montana.
Joe Montana never got an MVP.
No, he didn't.
Not in the Super Bowl, anyway.
Right. Doug Williams. Phil Simms. And number 6 is Marcus Allen.
So these are the ones I want to keep?
Well, no, these you have to pick 4 of those. So I'll read it again. Tom Brady, Steve Young, Joe Montana, Doug Williams, Phil Simms, and Marcus Allen. The reason I went with these 6, I'm going to tell you, is actually these are the top. Sporting News released recently their order of 1 through 56 or 1 through 55 because it was before the Super Bowl of all of the MVPs for the Super Bowl, and these are their top 6 in order, in descending order, 1 through 6. So on that the Sporting News list, was Tom Brady was number 1, Steve Young was 2.
We got it.
So forth and so on. So anyway, so pick your 4 that you'd keep of these 6 Super Bowl MVPs. Peter, please go first. I've already put an X through Tom Brady for you.
All right, thanks.
Who are you getting rid of? What you think? Just trying to fill the dead air.
I can't. I know. I should be mumbling my thought process, but I don't have one.
Well, let's go through how you normally do it. Who do you irrationally hate? Whose hairstyle or team was wrong?
What year did Phil Simms win it?
87. Well, 86.
86 season, 87.
Okay, well, I certainly hated the Giants a lot back then. So Phil Simms is going. See you
Great.
later. You and your highest passing percentage, completion percentage
Whatever.
in the history of the Super Bowl or whatever.
All right, so Tom Brady and Phil Simms are the two you're dumping?
Yeah, why not?
All right.
That leaves me with Steve, Doug,
Joe, and Marcus.
Joe, and Marcus. Yeah. Cool.
There you go.
Okay.
All right. Harry.
Yeah, they got it right on the list. I mean, it's Brady, Young, Montana, and Williams. I mean, Doug Williams, not only for his performance, but just for what I think it signified and the added pressure that he had literally on his back for that performance. Simms and Allen had great Super Bowls, but Brady did it so often.
Mm-hmm.
Young had a spectacular game. Montana with those comebacks, and Doug Williams, one of the best performances ever. So the top four are the top four for a reason.
There you go.
They got him right.
And there you have it. All right. I would tend to agree. So
with me?
I'm not saying with who. So, in any event. All right.
Peach is angry that Joe Namath isn't on there.
Joe Namath. Anyway. All right.
What did he go 3 for 12 with a
3 for 12 with minus
78
2 rushing
yards?
Right.
141 yards passing with an interception.
There you go.
Is that all it was?
No, those are Peyton Manning's numbers when he won against Carolina.
Was it only 141 yards?
Yeah.
Really? That's fine.
Yeah, I was looking at it. I was looking at the other
that
day.
Broncos defense was.
Oh yeah, Von Miller won that game for them, please.
Yeah,
and he won another one on Sunday. So let's talk about that. Let's talk about that game on Sunday. So let's break down the game, shall we? For a couple minutes anyway. All right. Let's. What do you? I mean, did you really? I thought the Bengals did have a chance, but
they did have a chance.
They did.
They almost won. They were up. If it wasn't for a bunch of ticky-tack fouls that they didn't call the whole rest of the game,
right,
and the fact that his receiver dropped if what's his name doesn't drop that pass, they're kicking a field goal. We're going to overtime.
Right.
At the very worst. To sum up the game, the Bengals offensive line is so pathetic, and Aaron Donald is probably put in the most clutch performance by a defensive player in a Super Bowl. He wanted it, and they have a lot of talent on that defense. I think the Bengals did a pretty good job running the ball, especially in the first half, but Burrow needs at least a second to throw the ball. On that last play, it's like, do I have to? The Bengals got outcoached. It's like your season, the Super Bowl is on the line. Maybe you put 2 guys on Aaron Darnold. Maybe you take a chance and put 2 guys on Aaron Darnold and give Joe Burrow at least a second to throw the ball. But they didn't. They couldn't convert a 3rd and 1, and their offensive line at the end of the game sucked. And that's the difference. And if they don't get help on the offensive line for Burrow, this team is not going anywhere. All I heard was, Burrow will be back. The Bengals are so talented. No, they got 3 years. They have 3 years to work because he's not staying in Cincinnati. He might not even make it through those 3 years if he continues to be protected. He was sacked, 7 times? That last play was technically a sack, even though he got the ball away. So, I mean, he was hit, 20-something times? I mean,
he was hurried a lot of times,
ridiculous.
and he was,
they still were up with a minute left. I mean,
and consider the fact that they did a pretty decent job through 2.5 quarters.
They got
the Cincinnati offensive line, right?
They got really conservative.
Right. My point is, you look at that stat line and you go, "Oh, that's the typical Cincinnati."
They ran the ball well.
That was over a quarter and a half.
They ran the ball well.
That the Rams defense came alive, and that offensive line collapsed.
They showed up. Von Miller had a good game. They got outcoached. The LA's defense. I don't think either offensive coordinator had a stellar game. I think that both teams were a little stiff on offense. I think that they weren't as fluid and wide open as you would expect for these teams. Cooper Kupp, he was the MVP for a reason. I think Donald should have probably won the MVP, but Cooper Kupp was the difference maker. He's the best receiver in football. I'm sorry, Devonta Adams, because he's willing to go across the middle and catch tough passes. And you have to remember that regardless of holding or interference calls, he caught the game-winning touchdown pass after catching the game-winning touchdown pass and being decapitated in the end zone.
Right.
He comes back 2 plays later, and again, coaching, why is Eli Apple one-on-one playing off Cooper Kupp with the – who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows?
That's another thing. You think Eli Apple has a job next year?
Well, I don't care who you put in that situation. You have to have help, and B, you have to hit him at the line of scrimmage. It was too easy. It was too easy, especially given the 3rd, 4th, and 5th opportunity to do it. I thought the Rams were down by 4. They had a score. You sort of saw it coming. I thought all it did really, all these, that sort of delay of that last drive was cut into the time that the Bengals had.
Yeah.
The Bengals started moving the ball. And if it's not for a drop pass in a really critical situation, I think that at the minimum they kick a field goal and this thing goes to overtime.
Right.
I think if you gave Burrow a 2.5 seconds to throw the ball, the Bengals would have won that game.
Well, see, this is an interesting point because one of the things that Chris Collinsworth kept saying is, I don't remember the guy's name, 94. When 94 is in the game for the Rams, and they have a 5th kind of defensive lineman there. When 94 is in the game,
Sean Robinson.
There you go.
Yeah,
when
Robinson.
He's in the game, don't run the
too.
ball, right? And Cincinnati seemed to keep running the ball when he was in the game.
Cincinnati got outcoached.
Yeah, but the problem was that when he was in the game, that's when they had to single up on Donald.
Right.
And so you really didn't have a lot of time to pass. So you can't run against that front.
At some point during the week, you have to realize, hey, maybe we need to keep a running back in, or maybe we need to have a tight end in motion, just even to chip Donald or get a piece of him to give him at least that last play. The game's on the line.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to hold Aaron. The odds of them calling holding on that play are very little. I'm going to grab him by his nuts, okay, and make it as hard as possible for him to. No, it was a Matador offensive line. Matador. No excuses. Horrible. The worst offensive line to ever make it to a Super Bowl.
And they still almost won the game.
And they still almost won.
Yeah.
That's how good Burrow is.
Right.
But I tell you, they got complacent going up early in the 3rd. From the 3rd until the end of the game, they got very conservative and they gave the Rams too many opportunities. Now, granted, the Bengals defense held the Rams for most of it. Both teams' defenses did a pretty good job in the second quarter.
Sure.
But then the Bengals went back to that zone defense. And the same thing that got them picked apart against Kansas City in the first half, got them picked apart on that last drive. And then all of a sudden, you can't, any team with that many opportunities from the 1, they're going to score.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I would have let him score earlier so you had more time.
Yeah, we were talking about that. Let him in and get yourself some more time to at least
when it was
get down
like
the field.
2:35, they could have let him in and had whatever their timeouts plus the 2-minute warning and they would have easily been able to either won the game or at least kick a field goal.
Yeah, all you needed to do was get down into reasonable field goal range.
They were there. Had what's his name not dropped that pass, they were pretty much in field goal range already.
Mm-hmm.
So was this a really great Super Bowl that kind of came down to the wire, or was it just too mistake filled?
I mean,
I don't think it goes on the worst list.
It seemed like every NFL game. It didn't seem. There was a couple good plays at the end. There was no real great spectacular. I don't know. It seemed a little lackluster to me. But it wasn't a bad game.
The fact that it was close at least made it exciting.
Exactly. It seemed like every NFL game.
Yeah.
Because it just seems like any game at any time.
Right.
I looked at it down to the wire.
I looked at it like, almost like, all right, it was a good defensive battle to a point too. I mean, there was some great offensive moments by both teams, but there were amazing defensive moments, and a lot of those defensive moments for the Rams were attributed to the lackluster play of the offensive line on the Bengals. But still, it was good. It was well played. I thought it was a good game. I think it was a great game. I don't think it doesn't go in the top 10 of Super Bowls, that's for sure.
No.
It doesn't go in the bottom 10 either.
I think it was just the execution by both of these high-powered offenses. They were tight.
Right.
It just didn't seem like they executed very well. There's a lot more punts than you usually see in this. I don't know. It was okay.
Did you see the new banner that Detroit put up?
No.
Right here. There you go. Our old quarterback won a Super Bowl.
Well, let's get to their old quarterback, because I want to ask you guys this question.
Sure, go.
I believe it was Dan Orlovsky who writes for whatever.
No, he's an idiot.
Yeah, said, well, this puts Matt Stafford in the Hall of Fame.
No.
Well,
no.
And then a lot of people
might not be wrong there. His numbers are there.
Well, all right. Let me rephrase it though. Does he deserve to go into the Hall of Fame because he won a Super Bowl?
Here's my take on that: is that I would put him as a maybe. I also have Eli Manning as a maybe. So I may be a little bit harder on. If his numbers are pretty impressive. The fact that he played for the Lions for all those years, but I don't think he has the post. I mean, yes, he had one great postseason and he won a Super Bowl. There's a lot of quarterbacks though that have won one Super Bowl who are not in the Hall of Fame.
Right.
I don't think this automatically puts him in the Hall of Fame. Now, I think he'll play 2 or 3 more years. I think his numbers will get so big that, if you look at Matt.
He's not retiring by any means.
No.
He's staying in L.A. He's still got Cooper Kupp. He's still got those weapons. Yeah. He's still going to his numbers are going to inflate. They're going to be back to the playoffs. I'm not saying they're going to Super Bowl again, but they'll be back in the playoffs again, and he'll have more playoff wins, and all of that might get him to the point where, he does retire.
He is certainly. This certainly helps him. His case for the.
If he retired today, I don't think he gets in. If he does, it's like a last ballot before he goes in, kind of a thing.
Right.
And I've heard people saying, "Well, if Eli Manning's getting in, Matthew Stafford's getting in." No. I mean, is Eli Manning a first ballot Hall of Famer? Probably not. Might he get on the first ballot?
Eli Manning also beat.
But look at what Eli Manning did.
The best team in football, record-wise, and beat a dominant. He was never a favorite.
Because Eli Manning had great numbers in shitty seasons too. So I mean,
I think the thing. Sorry, John. Go ahead.
No, I was just saying. So I don't I don't agree with. If Matthew Stafford retired today, I'm not saying he's not getting in, but he's certainly not getting in the first year or 2 or 3 for that matter.
And numbers,
I don't think he gets in.
Numbers are so escalated now. Like I sort of feel the same way about. Oh God, his name is who is the quarterback for the Chargers forever? Same draft, Philip. I mean, to me, Rivers will probably be a Hall of Famer, but to me, he's not a no-brainer.
Right.
Yeah, if you can. Well, look, I think it was Barry Bonds who said if you just play long enough, you'll put up numbers.
Right.
But there has to be. That's the end of his quote. But I think there has to be something more than that, and obviously Super Bowls is one thing we look at, but. The thing about Stafford is there's no, and it's a good story, I guess. Toiling away in Detroit and getting out, and he seems like a good guy or whatever. But there's no accolades other than this now. Like he never led the league in passing. He was never an MVP. You know what I mean? Like,
is Matt Ryan a Hall of Famer?
Well, again, that's
Matt Stafford.
Question, though.
Matthew Stafford is 12th all time in passing yards. Now, but again,
there's just put up numbers,
Eli Manning is 9th.
Right, but if you just put up numbers, though, is that enough to get in the Hall of Fame? I guess is what I'm getting at.
Is Carson Palmer a Hall of Famer?
I wouldn't say so. No,
he's 15th.
Right.
Again,
Drew Bledsoe is 17th. So, Matthew Stafford has 5,000 more yards than Drew Bledsoe.
I hear what you're saying, but I don't know. I just think there has to be something
a
little extra special about them to get in the Hall of Fame.
I agree. It's not the Hall of really good. It's the Hall of Fame.
Kerry Collins is 20th.
For Stafford, I don't think one Super Bowl does it.
Right. I don't either. I think, but you know what, though? again, like I just said, he's going to play several more
But
years.
he could play for a few more years.
He'll
could
get
win
some
a few more playoff games.
right,
Might get back to
and
the
that'll
Super
be
Bowl
and
he
that'll be a
doesn't
different
win.
story, right? Exactly.
And then he might get reevaluated.
Now, on that note, this was the Rams' 5th appearance in the big game in the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
It's
I don't
only
like
their
the Rams anymore.
It's only their 2nd win,
I don't like them.
but it's their first win as the Los Angeles Rams.
Yeah, whatever. What are they going to play in LA again next year? Or do they move to another city?
They're moving to Anchorage.
Going to move to Oakland.
Oakland wants a team. They're going to Oakland. The Oakland Rams. And I'm actually remiss. I'm actually pissed off at myself that I didn't say this, especially last week when we were doing the list, because I had it as the St. Louis or Los Angeles / St. Louis Rams was the list. The Rams started in Cleveland.
Yeah, that's what yeah.
Yeah, and I didn't say it, so I'm pissed off at myself.
Norm Van Brocklin, right?
Yeah, Van Brocklin.
That was before that. They
Artie Shore, old time hockey.
They were in LA already out there. But yeah, no, so they're going back to Cleveland because the Browns are going to the left coast. Yeah,
the Browns are moving to Scotland, right?
I mean, why would you ever leave LA? I mean, number one, that stadium is fantastic. Number two, it's I mean,
whatever. Fuck the Rams.
They're not going anywhere.
They're the least. Yeah, they're the least exciting of all LA sports franchises, with the exception of the. Are they the Los Angeles Chargers? Chargers. Yeah.
Are they? Yeah. So on that note, Los Angeles is the only city in the last 10 years to win in all sports. Rams just won in 21. Dodgers won the World Series in 20. Lakers won the NBA championship in 20, and the LA Kings won the Stanley Cup in 2012 and 14. So in the last 10 years.
They want to have one big jerk-off parade, and LeBron wants to take away from the Rams' achievements. Who cares?
There you go.
Well, actually, I don't know. I guess they had the parade today, right?
They had the parade today.
So probably like 8 people showed up.
There were a few
because
there.
they don't even care. They don't even
care.
The people in LA, they don't even care about.
Well, there's more people in LA that care about the Rams than they do about the Chargers. If the Chargers won the Super Bowl, it would be empty.
But compared to just about any other city, the level of care of the people of Los Angeles for the Rams.
Oh yeah, no. Compared to other cities, it's horrible. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
So, and they actually had the rally. They actually had the rally in the celebration at the Coliseum. They didn't have it at SoFi. They had it at the Coliseum.
Yeah, they're worse than like the 90s Braves fans. Who would like leave playoff games in the 7th inning? We got to get home.
Did Diane
beat the traffic? Yeah.
Did Diane Cannon show up for the parade?
Diane Cannon did. Yeah, she was there. She was the grand marshal of the parade. She led the way. So anyway, all right. And
congratulations. Who cares?
You agree with Cooper Kupp being MVP?
No, Aaron Donald.
Yeah, I agree. Kupp had a great drive, but didn't do much else.
I think it should have been Aaron Donald. I do too. I agree with that. And what'd you think of commercials? Really quick, I'll throw that out there.
I didn't see them all in real time, but I sort of saw a few of them within this last couple days. I thought the remake of The Sopranos beginning was interesting.
Yeah, it was that
clever.
Was cool.
Yeah. Kind of a little bit of a sellout for David Chase, but that commercial was way better than the Saints of Newark. So
there you go.
Yeah,
and
the spicy whatever with the animals singing in the jungle. I thought that one was pretty funny.
That was good. Well, on the Sopranos thing, really quick before we move on from that, they ended up at Bars, which is a restaurant in the Highlands.
Isn't that somewhere in Silver?
It's in the Highlands. It's right near Sandy Hook and
it's out on
Seabright and that.
It's out on the.
It's just before the hook. It's right before the bridge that goes over to Sandy Hook and Seabright and that. But it's right. It's only about 20 minutes from me actually, but the charging port that she plugged into for the electric car that doesn't exist there. It's not there. There's none there.
Yeah, we're not going to have any of that in South Jersey.
None of that. Not going anywhere. No. So anyway, but no, I thought it was a good commercial.
We run on Bon Jovi's.
What did you think of? Arnold Schwarzenegger and Salma Hayek in the BMW electric? You didn't see that one? That was pretty good.
That one.
Yeah, go watch it. He was watch it. I won't say anything. Watch it. We'll talk about it afterwards. But anyway, cool. All right.
I'll tell you what I found interesting actually is Turkish Airways doing
Yeah.
Do the Super Bowl spot.
Yeah, Turkish
where
Airways did a Super Bowl spot.
I wasn't sure if that was for real or not, but they're like.
And every car commercial was an electric car commercial. There were
Wow.
every single car commercial was an electric car commercial. So, anyway, a couple things. Joe Mixon.
This is I don't know if this was effective or not, but the one with the baby, they go to get the baby out of retirement. Was it an investment firm or something?
Yeah, what was that?
I think it was some sort of investment firm because they're like people are like investing their money because of memes or whatever, and
Right.
So they coax them out.
Oh yeah.
Like, I'll get my onesies.
Right.
That was kind of funny.
I thought "Where's the Beef" was pretty good.
Where's the beef? She's fallen and she can't get up. All right.
Yeah.
Joe Mixon now officially has more Super Bowl touchdown passes in the last 10 years than Aaron Rodgers does. So there you go. I thought that was funny.
Little dig at Aaron Rodgers.
No, I'm not digging Aaron Rodgers.
This just in from Aaron Rodgers. Who said that?
Who said that? I know it was a meme out there. OBJ, you mentioned OBJ crying before. There was a bunch of people busting the shops. In fact, somebody actually wrote, I'm pretty sure I never saw Charles Woodson crying when he won the Super Bowl.
Yeah, but I mean,
And then Charles Woodson
new generation.
Charles Woodson commented, "Trust me, I cried." So
It's a new generation.
Well, I mean, I don't know. Whatever. Was OBJ crying because Tears of Happiness that they won, or was he crying tears because he wasn't a bigger part of it?
No, he was crying because they won. Finally, yeah. I mean, I'm sure. Well, I didn't ask him, but I'm assuming that's what it was. So, but in any event, come on.
Because he's a horrible, terrible guy, mattress purchases aside. Right?
He had a couple really good catches and a touchdown, and then he got hurt.
There was one of the guys at the party where I was. His friend had a bet. Was going to win $100 if Beckham had, I don't know, like 62 yards receiving or something, and then he hurt himself. He had like 56 or something like that.
Beckham had 50. He had 52 yards.
52, yeah. So 10 more yards, and he would have won $100. But
lovely.
I mean, the Rams, in Beckham's defense, the Rams offense did sputter when he went out, and it's just here. I can coach both. I can coach the offense and the defense for the Bengals. On offense, if you're an offensive coach, find Aaron Darnold and put two guys on him minimum at all times. If you're the defensive coordinator for the Bengals, find Cooper Kupp and put two guys on him.
Yeah,
it's that simple.
And I thought that was like, I mean, I understand that was OBJ was having a good game and stuff, and I guess
he had two catches and a touchdown.
Was it there? Right, but I mean, he was a threat that was, allowing who was the running back Henderson to get open.
He's a great number two.
And there was
and what the backup or third string tight end had a pretty good first half, and I think he got hurt. So.
Yeah. So, but I thought that was. Thought the announcers were Collinsworth, of course, beats everything into the ground, but
he's so horrible.
OBJ went out, and they were like, they've lost their entire offense. They can't get anything going. I'm like, you lost one guy.
I don't know why
you still have the best receiver in the league in Cup. You still have,
He was he just took it to another level. He just like the Rams were losing the game now because OBJ was out.
Goodbye to that whole crew.
Yeah,
Al Michaels, Michelle Tafoya, Chris Collinsworth. They can all go work for the Republican National Committee.
They announced she's retiring.
Yeah, she's gonna become a right wing campaign manager for some racist nut job who's running for governor.
Alrighty then.
She is.
Yeah, I just
she is.
That was
she really is.
Yeah, she really is.
Like that's her title, though.
Right-wing nut job campaign advisor. Yeah,
right, exactly.
That sounds good.
Anyway,
yeah, I just thought that was a little bit like, what are you talking about, the Rams? But you're right; they suddenly seemed like they couldn't get it together. But it's just like you have lots of weapons. You still have the number one receiver. Just because Beckham's out, it shouldn't, But they were talking like they'd lost, 2/3 of the team or something.
Exactly. It was stupid.
I just wonder, like, how does Al Michaels feel about working with him?
I don't know.
Honestly, I think they're pretty good friends.
I would imagine they are.
And I will say this: in the booth, he's probably less annoying. There's just something about his voice coming out of television speakers.
Well, yeah,
It
and
drives me absolutely insane.
Saying the same thing over and over and
He's
over.
the master
again.
of the obvious.
Yeah.
Right. Thank you,
But
Captain
he just
Obvious.
repeats
But
himself again and again and again. And
somebody
again
asked me.
and again.
Somebody asked me the other day who the best commentating crew for football ever was, and of course, there's only one answer to that. It's John Madden and Pat Summerall. Period.
Yeah.
But somebody said, "All right, who's the second best?" And I thought about it, and it literally is Al Michaels and Frank Gifford.
They were good together.
Together. Now,
Dan
Dierdorf could have been there or not. Didn't matter.
I like
He was
Dan
coloring,
Fouts.
but Dan Fouts is good. But Dan Fouts goes, he's got a bunch of people as far as an actual team that's together for a long time.
Yeah.
I think Al Michaels with Frank Gifford was the number two behind Madden and Summerall. But so half of it is what Collinsworth and where do they stand? But anyway,
they're very popular and they're going to be out of a contract, but they're going to find. I think they're going to find a good payday on whatever alternative app
streaming or whatever.
Streaming.
All the Thursday night games are going to be next year on Amazon Prime.
They're going to get snatched.
They were talking about that on the K show. I think they were saying maybe because was it the Thursday night games are only going to be on Amazon Prime?
Thursday night games are only on Amazon Prime next year. Yeah.
And I know they were making a play for Michaels, like trying to.
Right.
To get him
and they're definitely going to. I think they're definitely going to go. Look, I know you hate Joe Buck, but I like Joe Buck and Troy Aikman as a team. I have no problem with them.
My biggest problem with Joe Buck is his head is too far up Troy Aikman's ass.
Yeah, whatever. I know.
Joe
Buck is a classic announcer.
Talk about.
That's why
game.
I like him.
Don't.
He's a classic announcer, and I like Romo. I think Romo's not necessarily always paired up with the best person.
I'm fine with Romo. He can't do Cowboys games.
No.
Don't put him on Cowboys games because he becomes a member of the team, and it's just it's annoying. He's a good commentator. Don't let him do a Cowboys game, period.
And I like Jim Nantz. I just don't like those two together, and I kind of like Nantz is too much of a – to me, like, he can do anything.
Right.
Like, I want Nantz doing – I don't know. I think I'm okay with that team too.
Right.
They don't stand out as much. They're a little bit more in the background, but
right. Gotcha. All right. A couple other things. Everybody's bashing Eli Apple, of course, and rightfully so. What was it? Apple toast we were saying the other day. But Brendan Marshall tweeted this. I just want to read it really quick. He put this during. Actually, he didn't tweet it. He offered this information on Eli Apple during last night's. It was last night's Inside the NFL. He said, "Do you know how many times I practiced against Eli Apple and said, bro, going against a number one receiver, if you give us the outside release, it's the easiest thing in the world." He said, "I used to argue with him every single day playing with the Giants. Like, man, I'm trying to help you. This is a history lesson on humility. Keep your mouth shut, play ball, then you go to the Super Bowl and you have a couple of penalties, give up a couple of touchdowns. You can't do that. You need to listen to the vets. So all the other young people watching, learn from Eli Apple."
Well, Eli Apple is a vet now. That's the problem. And the fact that Eli Apple is in the situation that he's in, I think, is a testament to Eli Apple, or a fact that it's just really hard to find a cornerback, because Eli Apple's time with the Giants was atrocious,
horrible. Yeah, and it wasn't much better with the Saints either.
No, and so I give him enough credit. Look, he was set up to fail. And he didn't have as bad a game as he was obviously going to be the center of attention because he's going up against the number one receiver.
Right.
And I think they should have given him help. And it's just a matchup problem. And
yeah.
Well,
there you go. But so now the only teams with 3+ Super Bowl losses and 0 wins, the Vikings are 0-4, the Bills are 0-4, and the Bengals are 0-3.
Better to be 0-3 than 0-0.
California teams too.
Very true. Words of wisdom.
Bengals
That's
lost
pretty good.
to a California team.
Yeah. Well, they lost to the 49ers twice before this, right?
Yeah.
They lost to the 49ers twice and the Rams once. Yeah, exactly. So right now the franchises with multiple Super Bowl wins. The Patriots and Steelers are tied for first with 6. The Cowboys and the 49ers are tied for second with 5. The Packers and the Giants are tied for third with 4. The Bengals. The Broncos. The what the hell's the Washington name now? Commanders? Is that what they are? The Commanders and the Raiders are tied for fourth with 3. And then the Dolphins, the Bucks, the Ravens, the Chiefs, the Colts, and the Rams all now have 2. Everybody else has 1 or none. So there you go. Just figured I'd let you know that in case you were wondering. So, no
That's good
silence
to
on there. Yeah, I figured that. It was the only way to get. It was the only way to get the Giants into this conversation. That's all I wanted to do.
Yeah.
So. Kidding. I found this funny. I just want to read a couple of them to you. I actually meant to send it to you guys the other day, but it's the hold on. It's the Super Bowl drinking game, Super Bowl 56 drinking game. There's a ton of them. I'm only going to read a few. Chris Collinsworth says, "Now here's a guy. Take a drink." Yeah. Joe Burrow does something cool. Take a drink. Jalen Ramsey starts talking shit for no reason at all. Take a drink. Eli Apple gets burnt. Take 2 drinks. You'll need them. Joe Burrow gets sacked. Take a drink. You're probably drunk at this point. It says
You might be dead.
right. Jamar Chase does the gritty. Take a drink. And Evan McPherson misses a field goal. Don't worry, it won't happen. That's what it says.
Now, so you could go back and rewatch the game and play one of those games.
And play it, right? Exactly. Yeah. I thought that was funny. And what was
Probably,
the other one?
Probably not the sack one, though.
And the other one was another one that was good. Odell Beckham again proves Baker is the real problem in Cleveland. Take a drink. And Snoop Dogg smokes on stage. Doesn't say take a drink. It says take a hit.
Yeah, take a hit.
Take a hit. So anyway, all right. Only other thing I got really, I just want to tell you really quick is next year. Right now, they came out with the odds. Vegas came out with the odds for next year's. Who's the favorite to go to win the Super Bowl next year? Who do you think is the
whoever Aaron Rodgers plays with? I would say probably Kansas City or Buffalo.
Wow, you. I wouldn't even give you a chance to answer, Pete. He hit the nail on the head. The Chiefs are the favorites at plus 700, and the Bills are right behind them at plus 750. Rams are third at plus 1,000, and then the 49ers and Bengals are tied for fourth at plus 1,400. So there you go.
Really?
Those are the odds right now for top 5 teams that are favorite to win the Super Bowl next year. Chiefs, Bills, Rams, 49ers, and Bengals.
I don't know if I put the Bengals on that list. I guess they're assuming they're going to get a little better.
Let me ask you this real quick. Are you guys surprised that the rumor is that Carson Wentz will be out as quarterback for the Colts?
Am I surprised? No. Do I actually think he's going to be out? I don't. What are they going to do?
They're going to get Jimmy Garoppolo.
You think?
Perfect fit.
Mm. Oh, it is a perfect fit, but I don't know. Is he definitely? I mean, is Trey Lance ready to take over the 49ers?
Doesn't matter. The Garoppolo's out.
Yeah, he's out.
Is Trey Lance ready?
Listen, that's fine as long as he stays healthy. That's the problem, right?
Yeah.
I mean, Wentz
Well,
obviously
the Colts may want to keep both of them.
Yeah, you might keep them both.
I just think there's something about Carson Wentz, and I think you will see him gone. I think they're going to waive him and eat the
money and the
15
draft
million.
picks.
Well, they still save money in the long run,
Yeah.
but I think that, I don't think Russell Wilson's going to go to the Colts. I don't think he's going anywhere, but I think Garoppolo. I think there's going to be more teams looking at Garoppolo than you think, and I think that's the right fit for him.
So where does that leave Carson Wentz? Out of a job, or on the Saints, or the Bucks, or the or the Broncos?
Maybe the Broncos.
Well,
the Broncos.
The rumor with the Broncos is that Aaron Rodgers is coming here.
The Green Bay is not going to let everybody walk and not keep Aaron Rodgers. I think they sign everybody.
It might not be up to Green Bay.
Well, it's if they sign them. I mean, they're free agents, I know, but they can offer them a contract. They might say, "Hey, I want to walk," but all the clauses might be, I'll sign here if Aaron Rodgers is staying, and Aaron Rodgers may say, "I'll sign here, Devontae."
I think the main reason the Broncos hired who they did as their head coach was to get Aaron Rodgers to come to the Broncos. Now, Aaron Rodgers' best, I've said this before, we all, I think, agree with this. Aaron Rodgers' best chances of winning another Super Bowl, if that is really what Aaron Rodgers gives a shit about,
right,
is to stay in Green Bay.
Right.
But that might not be what he's interested in. Who knows?
Well, and then there's also probably some allure to going somewhere else and winning a Super Bowl with a second team.
I mean,
by proving that I am Superman.
Right.
If I'm a free agent quarterback, there is one destination that I am looking at above all else.
The Giants.
No, that's Tampa Bay.
Tampa Bay. Yeah, but they have a couple people who are losing too.
Well, maybe, but they still have a pretty good, group of, certainly better than talent on a lot of other teams.
Fair enough.
I mean, Deshaun Watson, will Bruce Arians take a chance on him? Who knows? Russell Wilson, if he actually does want to leave, is there a better opportunity for him than Tampa Bay?
True.
I mean, I don't know. It's interesting.
It is very interesting when you think about it. All right. The only other football thing I actually want to bring up right now is I found this interesting. It's a list of the top selling. It's actually a list by Fanatics. Okay, so that's the company that works with
Jim Rome fans.
Jim Rome fans, yeah, no, it's the company that works with puts out all the jerseys, all the caps, everything else. It's the they own lids and everything else.
Right. They're the champion of
they're the best selling NFL jerseys in each state, and I found a couple of them interesting. Like, so I asked, here you go. What do you think the best selling jersey in New Jersey is?
Patrick Mahomes.
Joe Burrow.
No and no.
Offensive player?
Yes.
I hope it's not a Giant. I hope it's not a Giant or a Jet.
No, it's not a Giant or a Jet.
Then it's probably
Cooper Kupp.
Nope.
Is it an ex-Giant?
Nope. I'll give you this hint. It's the same top selling jersey as in New Jersey as in Delaware, Connecticut, Rhode Island, New Hampshire, and West Virginia.
Oh, Tom Brady.
It's Tom Brady. As well as Florida. This is Tom Brady. These are Tom Brady states. Florida, Alabama, Indiana. Tom Brady's the best-selling jersey in Michigan, in Iowa, in North and South Dakota, in Wyoming, in Utah, and in Idaho, and in Alaska and Hawaii. Those are all Tom Brady states.
Nice.
Yeah, but that's only because he's retired.
That's the number one. Yeah, probably.
All those states really appreciate a systems quarterback.
There you go.
Yeah.
Who's the number one selling jersey in? Whose jersey is number one selling in New York?
Definitely Kyrie Irving.
Football.
In New York, football.
It's not a long walk if you think about it.
Daniel Jones. Now, I would say the best-selling football jersey in New York.
In New York. And when I say New York, I don't just mean New York City.
Josh Allen.
Josh Allen, that's correct. Here's one that I find really weird. What's the number one selling NFL jersey in Maine?
Maine, not Brady. Maine would be. They're rebels up there.
Aaron Rodgers.
Eli Apple.
I'll say Aaron Rodgers.
No, it's not Aaron Rodgers or Eli Apple.
It's a quarterback, right?
It is a quarterback.
It's going to be somebody weird, like Drew Brees.
No.
No. I don't know. Let's see. Aaron. We said Aaron Rodgers. No Aaron Rodgers. No Tom Brady. No Patrick Mahomes.
Nope.
Deshaun Watson.
No. No.
It's Maine, so it's got to be probably a white player.
Stafford.
No,
Not Stafford?
It's not Stafford. No.
All right, who is it?
Cooper Cup.
No.
I don't know. Who
Joe
cares?
Mixon.
You were
Joe Burrow.
you were wrong with your assessment of its Maine, so it has to be.
No, okay.
Jackson. It's. You want me to tell you?
Yeah.
It's Lamar Jackson.
Wow.
Lamar Jackson in Maine. I have no idea why.
Mm.
So there you go. Everything else is pretty much like Justin Fields is the number one selling jersey in Wisconsin, which I found weird. But I guess there's enough people, in southern Wisconsin that aren't Green Bay fans, I suppose. And what you call it? Yeah, I mean pretty much everything else you would imagine. But here you go. What's the number one selling? These really quick. What's the number one selling jersey in Colorado?
Probably John Elway.
Nope.
In Colorado, number one selling jersey.
Von Miller.
Very good. Von Miller. There you go.
He was once one of ours.
There you go. California.
The whole state, huh?
Whole state.
Jimmy Garoppolo.
Nope.
Pat,
You're close, though. I'll give you that hint so we can wrap that up.
Matthew Stafford.
Nope.
Colin Kaepernick.
No. No.
Justin Herbert. Hey
Nope.
Bear. No.
Bobby Hebert.
Bobby Haber. Cooper Cup. I don't know.
George Kittle.
George Kittle is the number one selling
Kittle.
jersey in all of California.
Yep.
Wow, good for him.
Interesting.
Texas, I'll just tell you a couple of the rest of them. Texas
Dak
is
Prescott.
Dak Prescott. What's New Mexico?
Probably a Broncos. So I'm going to guess it. No.
Somebody on the Raiders, maybe?
Or somebody at
Not a Raider?
Ezekiel Elliott.
Zeke Elliott. Mm-hmm. And Kyler Murray is obviously Arizona and Oklahoma. Go figure.
Didn't he play for Oklahoma?
Well, yeah, I guess so. There you go. Josh Jacobs is in Nevada. Russell Wilson is in...
Josh Jacobs. Who the hell is Josh Jacobs?
He's on the Raiders.
That's an obscure one.
Yeah, you would think it would be like Derek Carr. It's
Yeah.
Josh Jacobs, yeah. Russell Wilson's in Oregon. DK Metcalf is in Washington. Alvin Kamara, of course, is in Louisiana. Dak Prescott's also in Alabama.
Mm-hmm.
Kyle Pitts is Georgia. Dak Prescott's also South Carolina. Christian McCaffrey is North Carolina. Derrick Henry is Tennessee. And then I think I covered everybody. There you go. All right, So there's the exciting news for jersey sales.
There we go. So
From
what
Jersey Johnny.
bandwagons not to jump on.
Exactly. All right. Well, there you go. All right. Well, this would be the time of the podcast that we usually do beaten by the coin.
But actually, I got a couple of things real quick.
Oh. Well, I'm sorry.
You thought we were done. Actually,
Well, I mean, that's fine. We can definitely talk about them, please.
Badminton or
no, football.
no?
Go for it.
So the Vikings have hired a head coach.
Yes.
It's Kevin O'Connell,
Mm-hmm.
white guy.
Mm-hmm.
That's number one.
Okay.
Just wanted to bring that up.
Okay. That was it? I thought you were going somewhere with that.
No, that's it. I just wanted to mention they hired a white guy. That's all.
All right.
I would like to know. Do you think Aaron Donald is coming back?
Yes.
Yeah, he will, right?
Yes.
How old is he?
He's not that old.
32. Less than that. 30.
Less than that. Isn't he in his 9th year? Like 8th or 9th year?
Yeah, something like that. Let's see.
I think he'll be back. I think he's got 2 or 3 more years left in him. Easy.
Yeah, I mean Whitworth played till he's 40.
40,
Yeah.
yeah.
Anyway, I think he will.
There's nothing better than seeing some press on an offensive lineman and an old one. Is that good for him? That's hard to do. He had a pretty good game too.
Should have been on the Giants. Yeah, he's 30.
Yeah.
He will be 31 in May.
He's got to come back for a couple more years.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right. So the other thing I wanted to bring up is the latest Cowboys scandal.
There's another one.
Which is Richard Dalrymple.
Great name.
Who is the senior vice president former senior vice president for public relations and communications, who I think resigned about a month ago.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if you heard the story, but the Cowboys paid a settlement, a confidential settlement, it's being called, of $2.4 million after 4 members of the cheerleading squad accused Dalrymple of taking pictures of them on his cell phone as they were undressing at some event at the stadium in 2015.
They were undressing for an event?
Didn't Trump
they
do
were
that
changing.
and became
They were
president?
Okay.
either into or out of their uniforms.
Gotcha.
So I guess his explanation was there was, for whatever reason, there was no security. He got into this the back door of this area and didn't know they were in there, opened the door, saw them, and then quickly exited. They say he held his phone out and he was like snapping pictures. And then somebody saw him and they yelled at him and then he like ran away or whatever. He, of course, denies the allegation. But here's the other part of this, because it's a two-parter. He was also accused of taking upskirt photos of Charlotte Jones Anderson, who is a senior vice president with the team. And you know who that is?
Mm-mm.
What's the middle name?
Jerry Jones's ex-wife?
Jerry Jones's daughter.
Mm.
So this guy supposedly, maybe, accidentally walked in on the cheerleaders, maybe on purpose.
Accidentally on purpose.
Took some pictures of them, and also was taking some upskirt pictures of the
owner's daughter.
Who is he said, of course, I didn't do either of these things, blah blah blah. But he resigned about a month ago, so he's out. Now here's why I bring this up.
Go for it.
It's entirely plausible in my mind, and probably a lot of people's minds, that this guy did both of these things.
Sure.
But here's the thing. Each of the women, by the way, the cheerleaders received roughly $400,000. One of them said, clearly saw him standing behind a partial wall in this locker room with his iPhone extended towards them while they were changing their clothes. So anyway, here's the thing that I find strange about this. He's resigning and walking away. The Cowboys are settling. Is this because Jerry Jones just doesn't want the bad publicity? Is it a situation where it's part of the old boys network? And what he did, he saw the cheerleaders and he took some pictures and blah, blah, blah. But it's Jerry Jones's daughter.
Right.
Like, how does he not get shit canned immediately? If I were the team owner and I found out this guy is taking upskirt pictures of my daughter, he's gone. He doesn't even get to clean out his office. Security throws all his stuff in a box and tosses it out the fucking 8th-story window, as far as I'm concerned, hopefully on top of his car. And how is he allowed to resign and walk away from this?
Did the allegations of the second ones, the upskirt pictures of Jerry Jones' daughter, did they come out after he resigned, maybe? Or were both of them like beforehand and he was asked to resign, so to speak?
I think they were both beforehand. They both supposedly happened in 2015.
And they just came to light now?
Apparently so.
Apparently. Got you.
So I guess, trying to keep this quiet, but I don't look, do any of us think that Jerry Jones is
alive?
I don't know, a really good kind of progressive guy who has respect for women and thinks they're valuable in the workplace and blah, blah, blah?
Don't know enough about him in that regard. I can't answer that question.
Well, I'm not asking what you know, I'm asking what you think. Well, that you're right. That's not fair. But it's possible that he just wants to pay them off and shut them up, right?
I would say that it probably leans more towards the bad publicity, get it over with, get it done. He'll take care of whatever retribution in the matter of a tongue lashing, so to speak, or maybe he did it already.
I don't know.
With the
guy,
stuff for his
the guy's
daughter,
gone.
but with the, I'm just saying,
But how do you not? In other words, how do you not?
Well, we don't know that his stuff wasn't tossed out the 8th story window. Nobody reported that. He was just, he just resigned. That could have happened.
But how do you let
similar.
him walk away? I mean, this is his daughter we're talking about. How do you let him just walk away from that? How do you let him, quote unquote, resign? Quietly, if not, I mean, not really with dignity in essence, right? He gets to walk away from it.
Yep.
How do you not at least bust the guy in public about it? I understand you don't want the bad publicity, but isn't it worse publicity to go, old boys network? You just kind of let him slip away.
No, that
right? You get to resign. That way I don't have to fire you. Wouldn't you want to fire his ass?
Oh, yeah.
Well, in today's world, there's lots of reasons to actually not fire somebody. So he probably fired him. He told him to resign. Why he did that or not? I mean, you never hear anybody being fired anymore. It's always resignation. Whether it's at any high position, that's always the case. Who knows what Jerry Jones's reaction was? Who knows who knows? So it's disgusting no matter what. I mean, obviously this guy is just the fact that he's gone, I think, says more than how he was removed in a positive way to me.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, if this is coming out, obviously he has to. And he, I think it was about a month ago, he's resigned. So they're obviously looking to, we're looking to get ahead of this. Well, he's gone. He's been out of here for a month.
Well, and they're also probably crossing their T's and dotting their I's so that they don't have, lingering legal effects. I mean, these things become, the Cowboys are a huge organization that has incredible exposure. And I'm sure they're doing everything they can to make sure that this is the end of it.
Now, here's the other aspect of this that I want to ask you guys about, because one of the announcements, well, like I heard two things from some of the professional pundits on the airwaves today, and one was, this is everything that's wrong with the NFL. Right?
This is everything that's wrong with society.
Yeah, the old boys network and blah blah blah, and they wanted to talk about it for the next 3 days. And there was another host who had a different tack, and his take was, I feel like this is a story that we're going to talk about for a day or two, and then it's going to go away, and then it's back to football as usual. And I kind of felt sort of torn between those two things, because maybe it shouldn't just be a mention. Maybe there should be something, I don't know, something more brought to it, some sort of greater desire at exposing this culture wherever it exists, which who knows where that is. But then again, the guy was a perv.
Right.
He did some shit. He got shit canned / resigned. Let's move on.
Right.
I don't know. I kind of agree with both positions. I'm not sure what I really want to see come out of this.
I think, if I could put myself into that position with, I have daughters, but if I could put myself into that position, I think the initial emotion would be, anger, fire, whatever, I don't want to say get violent or anything like that, but it would be very anger filled, emotions. But sitting back, okay, look, nothing's going to change. We got to get rid of this. We just got to get this, piece of shit out of the organization. So, and I want to do it quickly and everything else. You fire somebody, maybe there's a lawsuit. He's saying that, that he's preaching innocence. He didn't do it. Blah 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 blah. So you fire him. Maybe he comes after you, and there's a lawsuit, and then there's this long process and everything else. You go to him and you say, resign. Fill it out, resign. Boom, 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 boom. And he resigns. Get the hell out of here now. Take your shit. Get out. Goodbye. I don't want to see your ass in this building again. Get out of here. But he resigned, right? That's little cooler heads kind of thing. But you're absolutely. But that's for that. I know what you're saying though. That's for that specific scenario, but the greater good for that, would be to expose it so that it does maybe do something about this.
Well, right.
But was that particular incident because of the Good Boys Network, or was that particular incident because he was a friggin' pervert?
I think you have to paint it on the individual, and I do think that while it's still not perfect, things are moving in the right direction. We have female representation at a much higher rate in sports, especially in the media aspect of sports.
Right.
I think we need more, and I think we need to we need to see that change a little bit more. There could be an entire show dedicated to this, and maybe there should be. But I think mixing it in with ESPN Sports Center or talking about it, I think it needs to be addressed on a much higher level and not just in the confines of sports. And that's where a lot of things, I think, that temporary sort of fill the empty news cycle thing on ESPN 1 through 12 for a day. Yeah, that does its job. It brings attention to it, but then it's not really discussed in a much deeper manner. And it's not discussed in ways where it affects other people in their normal life. And I think the more we hear about it, and we have, obviously, I mean, there's been a huge movement. Some of it, change does not come easily, and it doesn't come without maybe some missteps along the way, but it is coming. And it goes back to our conversation we had earlier, this month with ownership. We need to get old white men out of some of these positions and allow people to come into these positions who do not hold these antiquated views and who do not treat women like second-class objects. And that's happening, and it will happen, and it will continue to happen.
Right.
The fact that this guy is just walking into, you just don't walk into a cheerleader's, place of work when they're changing, and
or if you do, you don't take pictures.
Right.
You go, holy shit, I'm so sorry. And you turn around and you walk out. Right. You don't hide behind a wall and stick your phone out until somebody calls you out.
And if you're going to do those things, there's only one place where it's appropriate, and that is running for president of the United States. So if you want to act like this, please just, run for president.
Yeah.
Because it seems like it's okay there.
All right.
Well, but those girls were
beauty contestants.
Yeah, a lot of them were teenagers, right? So
yeah.
So it was okay for that guy. I don't know. I agree with you. I would add one thing that you're right. It's the fact that it's on ESPN and the sports networks. It is being brought to people's attention, but maybe not the ideal audience.
Well, maybe it is the ideal audience because although it's changing again, SportsCenter is still. I'm guessing. I don't have the numbers in front of me, but I'm guessing it's still predominantly white men who are watching it and who are of the luxury of watching it. And maybe that's a good thing, especially when they hear other men and women talking about it in a matter-of-fact way. My point being is either give more depth to it and put it in context and allow women to be on there actually talking about what this is and what they've dealt with. Don't use it as a sort of a news item ticker filler that doesn't really get the attention it deserves.
Yeah. I would just argue that, I agree with what you just said. I would just think that there's probably a fairly decent percentage of the SportsCenter audience who, I'm going to stereotype here, just beer-swilling football lovers who don't give a shit about, whatever. He took some pictures of the cheerleaders. Nobody got hurt. What's the big deal?
I think that demographic is probably more aware of those scenarios. I think it's the demographic is the well-heeled white executive who's putting on SportsCenter in the morning before he's going into a similar scenario of privilege that exists in the corporate world. And I think those are the people that need to hear this, the guy that
if they're younger, they probably have.
Right.
They're still up and coming. They understand. Now, whether that's something they take to heart or whether it's something that they just play the game.
I think it's something they don't think about doing. And also, I don't think this is a condemnation on our society as a whole. I think this is one guy who obviously felt for whatever reason, has an issue and needs to address it. And he paid consequences of losing his job for it.
Yeah. I think you hit the nail on the head when you said it. The change is coming. It is. It's slow going, but it is coming. And this is, this particular incident. And believe me, there are plenty out there that we've heard in the past, and unfortunately, probably will hear in the future, that speak to the whole storyline of good old boys network kind of thing. But I think this is more of an isolated incident from a pervert that needed to get the hell out of where he was.
Yeah, I mean, this is in the context of football. There's plenty to criticize about the NFL. There's plenty to criticize about just from a 30,000 square foot view of what it is.
Right.
There's plenty to criticize about the fact that in today's day and age, we still have cheerleaders. So, or, not just female, entertainers or whatever you want to call them.
Right.
I'm not making a judgment either way, and I'm just saying there's an entire discussion to be had here. And if you pull out a little bit farther, not to take the emphasis off of a man's bad actions, but there's a lot to criticize. We are talking about football here.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else?
I think that was it.
All right.
I think that was it. I don't know. I just.
What song is that?
Oh, that's the Star Wars Revenge of the Sith secondary theme.
Gotcha. Secondary theme. Is there a tertiary theme?
Maybe.
Yeah. All right. Anyway. All right. Well, again, this is the part of the show where we would normally do Beaten by the Coin, but we've wrapped up Beaten by the Coin once again for another football season, and we should put up last week's numbers because we have the prop bets, and it was sent here. Let me put this up right there. It's I didn't adjust it, so it's a little smaller, but we can still read it. So
I don't know why that's. Oh, you know what? I that's the old one.
That's the old one.
I made a bigger one.
You made a bigger one, did you?
If I send it to you now, how long does it take to put up?
2 seconds.
All right, hang on. Let me.
All right.
Yeah, because I went to put that up on the website, and then I realized that it was really hard to see.
Didn't the Rams score first?
Yes, they did.
They did.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't I get that right?
Yes, you did.
Yes.
So red is wrong and yellow. I don't.
Yeah,
well,
red is wrong.
Let's
and
get
yellow.
it. Did you send it?
Hold on. Okay. Yes, I want to send it without a subject. All right, there you go.
It's fine. Let's move on.
No. Here we go. Get this right here. It's loading.
So the prop bets were actually interesting. There were 8 of them.
There were, and I got a question on one of them for you. Actually, while this loads, let me ask you this: the first prop bet, was the coin.
Yes.
Now, did you say what the coin, what the person was going to pick? Was that it, or was it what the coin was actually going to come?
Was the coin toss going to land heads or tails?
Okay, and
was the first one.
It landed on what?
Tails.
It landed on tails. Okay. Hold on. This is what the hell's going on here?
Yeah, that was the first one. By the way, let's
just put this up. If it comes up, I'll switch it. It's fine.
It looks really small on my screen, but because it's a small. All right. So John wins, of course. Congratulations. Second year in a row. The prop bets total points, I came the closest. Off by just 1, in fact.
Off by just 1.
Yeah. Coin toss was tails, so the coin and I won that one. Oh, I did that backward. Oh, no. Coin toss who wins was Cincinnati, so John got that one right. The rest of us were wrong. Who scores first was L.A. We all got that. Who scores last was John and the coin.
Here we go. That's better.
There we go. First play, pass, or run. The coin took run. We all took pass.
Mm-hmm.
Scoring drive less than the national anthem. I took no. Everyone else took yes and won.
Mm-hmm.
And will Snoop smoke on stage? I had to go with no.
Will Snoop smoke on stage?
Yeah. Because there's video of him on the stairs before he actually head up.
He didn't smoke on stage. Give it up.
No, he didn't. He really did. The essence of the prop bet was, will he be out there performing and spark it up?
Right.
And he did not.
He did not.
So
he did prior. He did not on the stage. He did not.
Yeah. So John went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
4 and 3.
Did I count right? Oh no, 4 and 4. Sorry, 4 and 4.
4 and 4. Yeah.
John went 4 and 4. Harry and I went 3 and 5, and the coin went 5 and 3. So the coin got the last laugh.
The coin wins the prop bets.
The coin wins the prop bets.
Makes sense.
But John wins overall. Did I send you the certificate too?
And here's the certificate.
Yeah, there we go.
Look at that.
Second year in a row.
So that's been.
Did you send him your aerobic pants?
No, but I did
Yoga
send
pants.
him a free 7-day pass to my OnlyFans page.
Oh, beautiful!
That's
my
like
subscription
$16
runs out tomorrow,
value.
so it couldn't have come at a better time.
it's like a $16 value.
That's actually last.
By the way, Pete, today your lighting is so bad that you look like one of those people when they're interviewing them and they want to hide their face.
Yeah, you know what it is. I think
it's
Well,
good.
maybe
It's fine. I'm just letting you know.
maybe that's what I was going for.
Your face is completely in the
All right, I'm here. Okay, what are your
Maybe
plans?
I'm done being associated
That's
with this
right.
podcast.
That's right.
Exactly.
I want plausible
radio.
deniability that it was me.
Exactly.
Radio incognito.
Yeah,
I
it's
love
funny when the StreamYard screen comes up, right? And they're like, "Oh, do you want to join in?" And there's a little tip that says,
It says good lighting makes
"Good
you look
lighting can
better."
make you look decent" or something like
Yeah.
that.
That's
I gotta
good.
get, I don't know, some sort of.
You need a ring light.
I need an
There you
underlight. Actually, there's a shelf right here. I could put a little something on there.
Put a little
I don't
light,
know.
little light on the subject. So,
Cool.
anyway, all right. So,
So
that
there you go. So congratulations to John.
Yeah, there you go. Thank you very much. I appreciate
All right.
it.
Is that
All
it?
right. And then we got our top 10 list.
Oh, top
But it's going to be a quick one. Top 10, tonight's top 10 list. We'll wrap up football for the year. Well, for the season. I shouldn't say for the year because we'll obviously revisit it and, well, not revisit it. We'll come back to it in August or September. But
maybe.
Maybe. We'll see. But it depends on how baseball's going. But our last top 10 list for the 2021 season for football is top 10 worst Super Bowls of all time. Last year we did top 10 best Super Bowls of all time. It's top 10 worst Super Bowls of all time.
Fantastic.
So, and in true Get On With It sports podcast fashion, we have 15. So we have a 3-way tie for 10th, a 2-way tie for 9th, a 3-way tie for 8th, and then everything else is just 1. So there you go. So we'll start out with, let me get this here. We'll start out with number 10. Tied for number 10 is the Super Bowl 21 in 1987, the New York Giants 39 and Denver Broncos 20. Now,
Really? That was
there's
on top 10?
there's 4 of these that were Pete only ones. So,
Was that one of them?
and this was one of them. So I'm going to ask Pete because I thought this was an amazing Super Bowl. To be quite honest with you, it certainly wasn't one of the worst for me. I'm just
Well, it's
curious.
way more competitive than. I mean, the Broncos were actually leading at halftime.
Broncos were leading 10-9. Yeah, the Broncos were up by a point at halftime. The Giants scored 30 points in the second half, and Denver only scored another 10.
He just hated seeing the Giants win the Super Bowl.
Yeah, it was 87. I hated the Giants, and
your Jets lost in the divisional round to the Browns too. So
yeah, and at this point, I think I was kind of developing an affinity for the Denver Broncos.
there you go.
Okay, so no real reason.
No.
All right. Also tied for 10th is Super Bowl 18 in 1984. It was Oakland 34, Washington 9.
Yeah, this one was bad.
This was January 22nd, 1984.
This was on all our lists, I think, right?
And it was on all of our lists, yeah. At Tampa Stadium in Tampa, Florida. So this was a bad Super Bowl. So, in fact, it was the.
Oh no, I didn't have this on my list.
You didn't? I thought you did.
No, this is a great Super Bowl. Fuck Washington Raiders,
There you
baby.
go. But this was, if you remember back then, this was the last time the AFC won a Super Bowl, 1984, January 22nd, 1984, until almost the year 2000, January 25th, 98, when the Broncos won their first their first win. Every Super Bowl is won by an NFC team after the Raiders won the Super Bowl. So,
well, I mean, it's a superior conference.
of course. So, anyway, all right. So that's tied for number 10 on that one. Also, the last one tied for number 10 would be Super Bowl number 4 in 1970. Kansas City 23, Minnesota 7.
I remember it well.
I remember it like it was yesterday. It was January 11th, 1970.
How many people watched this Super Bowl? 12?
The viewership was the attendance for the Super Bowl was 80,000. This was the highest attended Super Bowl to date at that time.
And where was it at?
It was in Tulane Stadium in New Orleans. 80,000.
A lot of people. It's funny because that stadium only holds 35,000.
That stadium only has 25,000. They're all standing on the field on top of each other.
That's nice.
Built pyramids, the whole 9 yards.
Cool.
Some sat on the roof. Anyway.
We're still on number 10, huh?
Yeah, I know. Tied for number 9 is Super Bowl 55, just last year. Tampa 31 and Kansas City 9.
It was not on my list.
It was not. It was on. This is another.
Pete only.
This is another Pete only one. Yeah. So what was wrong with this one? I agree with you. It was a little boring.
Well, this was the GOAT against the young GOAT. It was 21-6 at halftime and never got closer than 3 scores after that.
Yeah, I just loved watching the Chiefs get pummeled. It was so fascinating.
Yeah, I mean, it really wasn't, it didn't live up to the hype, and it wasn't a very close game.
All right.
Three touchdown plus game.
There you go. All right. Also tied for number 9 is Super Bowl 12 in 1978. Dallas 27, Denver 10.
A lot of Denver on this list.
Denver 10.
I have 4 Denver teams.
Which, ironically, I was going to say it later. I'll say it now. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of the 15 Super Bowls. 5 of them have Denver losing. Okay? And 3 of those 5 have Denver losing with only scoring 10 points. Mm-hmm. Seems to be a recurring theme for Denver, only scoring.
When they lose, they lose really well.
When they lose, they only score 10 points. So there you go. All right, moving on to Super Bowl 8. We had a 3-way tie for 8. The first one is Super Bowl 10, 1976. Pittsburgh 21, Dallas 17. Again,
how is this a bad game?
This is not a bad game. This is another Pete only, and it's because Dallas lost.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this was a great one. This is one of the most iconic Super Bowls of all time.
Did you look at my list?
No, I try not to. Well, you sent it at like 5:28.
Listen, this is this one probably of all of my lists. Well, I did put thought into it, but my criteria are not in line at all with anyone else's criteria when making up a list.
It was what was the worst Super Bowl for you, and you obviously at the time wanted Dallas to win the game, not Pittsburgh.
Pete's top 10 most emotional Super Bowls.
Yeah, well, actually, 1979 was worse than this one. That was number 2 on my list.
We're getting there.
And again, another fantastic Super Bowl.
No, they weren't.
All right, let's go.
Also tied for number 8 is Super Bowl 48.
It was the 10 most emotionally crushing Super Bowls.
This was an actual garbage ball.
This was a garbage ball. Yeah, I mean, from like 2 seconds into the game where it was a safety. Yeah,
that was bad.
For Super Bowl 48, 2014, Seattle 43, Denver 8.
This was painful for Broncos.
Horrible Super Bowl. Totally agree. The
most painful Broncos.
The halftime show was good, but not so good.
It was the halftime show.
This was Bruno Mars and
Tony
Red Hot Chili
Orlando
Peppers. And Tony Orlando and Dawn, right? Yeah. All right, and also tied for number 8 is Super Bowl 53 in 2019.
See,
England 13,
again, I thought
LA
this was a really
3.
good Super Bowl. I know it was low scoring, but man, this was a.
It was.
Did anyone else have this besides me? Or is this a me only?
Yeah, this was a you only.
Listen, 16 points. I think it was scoreless at halftime.
I love it. Yeah,
1 touchdown. That's freaking snooze fest.
Good defense.
It was
a tight game.
There's a line between good defensive battle and boring game. This leaned towards
it was
boring game for me. I didn't have it on my list, but this one I do kind of agree with. It was boring.
You're obviously not from Worcester.
No, and I was actually watching the Super Bowl in a bar on Boylston Street in Boston. So
I'm sorry.
There you go. There you go. All right. Now, no more ties. Number 7. Number 7 is Super Bowl 13, 1979. Pittsburgh 35, Dallas 31. One of the most iconic Super Bowls of all time.
This is like top
Makes
3
our worst Super Bowl.
Top 3 best Super Bowls of all time.
But Dallas lost by 4 points, so it is on Pete's list.
And again, this is worse than 76 because it's the same 2 teams, the same outcome, the same 4 points. Just again, 3 years later.
There you go. Yeah, right.
Horrible Super Bowl.
It was a great Super Bowl, and
terrible.
I bet you can probably ask a couple of Dallas players that played in the Super Bowl, and they'll say that it was a pretty damn good Super Bowl.
Well, they can make their own damn lists.
There you go.
All right. Number 6 on
number
our
6.
list that makes no sense.
Number 6.
I put like 4 hours into this.
I didn't put 4 hours into it. I put over an hour into it.
I mean, I had to narrow it down. I'm like, oh, yeah.
I put over an hour. I put over an hour into my list, but
I reordered my list twice.
Yeah.
So I probably
because you didn't have enough Dallas on it.
I probably spent a good 40 minutes on this.
What? All right, so that was the first. That was the beginning of his list. Okay, let me list all of the
bad.
Super Bowls Dallas lost, and then go from there.
This one was exciting for Dallas, but just it
was
maybe
boring.
One of the biggest beatings in the Super Bowl history.
It was, yeah. Super Bowl 27, 1993. Dallas 52, Buffalo 17. This
one
was
of the greatest Super Bowls in history.
Okay, that's why it wasn't on your list.
This was not on your list.
No, it was not.
No, it was
Okay.
not. There you go.
I thought we were just reading Pete's list.
A beautiful bludgeoning. No, because I had how many that weren't on anyone else's list?
Okay.
You had 6 that weren't on anybody else. You only had 4 that were the same as ours.
All right.
Number 5 is Super Bowl 5 in 1971. This is the Blunder Bowl.
This is the one we all agree on.
We all agreed on this one. Super Bowl 5, 1971. Baltimore 16, Dallas 13. This was the Super Bowl where I don't want to win, you win. I don't want to take it, you take it. I don't want it, you take
It had
it.
so many turnovers.
This was
11 turnovers or
this
something.
was horrible.
And it was
Horrible.
a Dallas loss on top.
It was a Dallas loss. Craig Morton and Earl Morrall were the quarterbacks in this Super Bowl.
Didn't Unitas come back in for this?
Unitas came. No, Unitas. Maybe he came back in or he went out. No, he went out, and Earl Morrall came in and won it. That's what. Unitas went down in the second quarter. Got pulled in the second quarter, and Earl Morrall came in and won the game. But Craig Morton was for Dallas, and yeah, it was not a well played football game, and the only Super Bowl to date where a member of the losing team was named the MVP.
That's right, and a defensive player. Right?
Defensive player, Chuck Howley. Yep.
Yeah.
There you go.
And I think a former Old Balls recipient.
And he was an Old Balls recipient, Chuck Howley. Yes, he was. So, all right. Moving on to number 4 is Super Bowl 22 in 1988. Washington 42, Denver, once again, 10 points.
Well, they had 8 in the last one. So
this is true.
They're getting a little better.
They're getting a little better, right?
And it was 52 to 8, right?
42 to 88.
Yeah, okay.
Was it 40? Hold on.
No, it's 40.
No, on this one it was 42 to 10. What was the one that was 8? 52 to 8?
It was 50. It was the one they had 8 was 30, 34, 43 to 8.
43 to 8.
43 to 8, yeah.
So about the same. They're consistent.
About the same, yeah. And then yeah, so this was Doug Williams.
This was hard to put on the list because I think it was significant for
Williams.
a lot of people, and Doug Williams' performance was great, but it was over very early, and it was kind of a boring game.
It was. You didn't need to watch the second half of this game.
And it was Washington, who, despite being a rival of the Giants, have no love for Washington.
Mm-hmm.
And Denver just gotten pounded the year before by the Giants.
And who
closer than the score?
And who was the Washington quarterback that Doug Williams replaced?
Joe Theismann?
Theismann?
No. It was a quarterback in between.
Oh, was it Rippon?
No, Rippon was after.
No, it was after.
Jay Schrader.
Schrader, yeah.
He was horrible.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's another reason I hate Washington is Theismann. Fuck that guy. And fuck Notre Dame.
Yeah.
I guess they'll never be
things you'll never hear on any other show, folks. Right here, you heard it here, folks.
Irrational podcast. Irrational thoughts.
I will say this: I like one year when I was out on the radio in Riverhead, we had Theismann come on. He was, doing the interview rounds for the Super Bowl,
right?
And he was really great. He called us both by name and was very engaged, and it was a really good interview. But I hated him when he was a player.
From all reports, Joe Theismann was like, a great teammate and a Hall of Famer. I mean,
he played for Notre Dame. So.
Oh, okay. All right.
There you go. So you don't like Joe Montana either, then?
Not really.
All right.
I mean, I have no love for San Francisco.
All right.
So a long list of irrational hate.
There you go. All right. Moving on to number 3 would be Super Bowl 20 in 1986. Chicago 46, New England 10.
This is a great Super Bowl.
This is horrible for so many reasons. Number 1, it was a blowout. Number 2, everything about that game leading up to it, with the fridge and the dancing and the rapping,
the Super Bowl shuffle,
Jim McMahon, and horrible. That is a team that no one other than people in Chicago could like. It was horrible.
Come on, that was one of the greatest defenses in the history of the NFL.
I agree.
It was a great defense,
but it took away from it with all the extra shenanigans.
Yeah, but they made that really ridiculous video, but they backed it up.
The only thing that
they were doing the Super Bowl shuffle is what they were doing.
New England made a video too, but they
did
not back it up. Yeah. Remember their video? No one remembers their video.
One of the biggest.
Chowda?
Game with Coach Ray Berry.
Was it the biggest favorite in the history of the Super Bowl? Weren't they favored by like 14 points or something?
It was a big spread. Yeah, here. Let's see if I have the stats here.
No, we don't need to go into it.
Plus, New England getting pummeled.
Again, New England's on this list a couple times, getting pummeled in the early days.
Yeah,
they were still there.
They are
still there. All right, number 3 again. Number 2.
The spread was. I'm just looking for it. The spread was
35.5.
It's like 13.5 or 14.
Yeah, it was 14. 14. Yeah, 14. There you go.
See,
all right.
Got to double check me.
How much did you lose?
Got to double check me.
How much did he lose? How much did you lose?
I didn't lose anything. I would have taken the.
Oh man, look at this! The Nets are coming back.
Of course they're playing the Knicks. All right, number 2.
All right, number 2 is going to be Super Bowl 24, 1990. San Francisco 55, Denver once again 10 points.
Wow, poor John Owen.
Yeah, this was a boring game. Same thing.
This was maybe the height of the 49ers machine.
It was. This was definitely
Steve Young.
No. This was Joe Montana.
Wasn't the one that Seifert won?
This is the one that this is
still Bill Walsh.
Still Bill Walsh.
Okay.
Seifert won in 95.
No, was it that late?
Yeah.
Okay.
But whatchamacallit? Yeah, he this was it Bill Walsh? Yeah. No, it should be. Hold on, let's double check. I don't want to give any wrong information here. And we can get rid of this box and put it here. This was
it would have been the 89 season, so yeah, it was still Walsh.
Yeah, it was still Walsh.
Yeah. Okay. And number 1.
So
hopefully it's the one that I'm sure it's what I know. I think it is.
And there you go. All right. Yeah, it was. All right. So there you go. But again, and this game was over. No need to watch the second half of this game. So, and number one, our top worst Super Bowl of all time is going to be Super Bowl 35 in 2001. Baltimore Ravens 34, New York Giants 7 points.
Two offensive touchdowns in the entire game for both teams.
Mm-hmm.
This was just horrible. Horrible.
Brilliant defensive,
disgusting game
effort, and massively wonderful game.
This is what they play this game at Guantanamo Bay when they want to get information out of people.
Horrible. This was disgusting, and this was disgusting.
Yeah,
this was.
I don't think this made my list.
No, it made my list. And Pete, you had to know that this made my list.
Yeah, I figured you guys.
I think it was number 1 on mine, right?
It was number one on both your lists.
Both of ours.
Yeah.
So. Yeah. Absolutely, but it really, you know what? Other than just
really
the fact
was
of the Giants, look, this game was sucked.
Kerry Collins versus who is the Ravens quarterback?
Please don't, Trent Dilfer.
Yeah. Kerry Collins, by the way, number 20 all time in all-time passing yards. So that stat means absolutely nothing.
There you go.
Yeah,
amazing.
Yeah, just for whatever reason, I don't know what it is. This whole season and this whole Giants team has been wiped from my memory. I just don't. I remember the Super Bowl, but I remember actually turning it off and not watching the end of
The
it.
Giants had a good team this year. They actually won a lot of games.
Yeah, I know, but you know what? Good. I'm glad Tiki Barber lost. Fuck him.
Talk about irrational anger.
Talk about irrational anger.
Is it irrational?
The Giants.
It's one of the. He's like number 3 in the Giants running backs history.
The Giants were the number 1 seed in the NFC. They went 12-4. They beat Minnesota the week before, 41. We talked about this, 41-0.
Yeah.
There was absolutely no reason that they should have laid the biggest egg in this.
They were afraid Ray Lewis was going to stab them.
Well, Baltimore's defense. I mean, talk about. I think this was the best defense of all. One of the best. Of
the
all
Giants
time.
didn't have a bad defense. The Giants had a pretty damn good defense here.
The Giants just.
I'm not saying they should have won the game. I'm saying they should have done more than they did.
Baltimore wasn't favored by a lot, were they?
I don't even know.
I think they were only favored by like 3 or 4 points. I could be wrong, but
well,
yeah.
What's funny is the Ravens. They had the same record for the regular season, 12-4, but the Giants were the first seed in the NFC. The Ravens were the 4th seed in the AFC.
Yeah.
So
defense wins.
There you go.
I don't think a team that has ever beaten the Vikings in the playoffs goes on to win a Super Bowl. No, that's completely false.
No, it's not true because Philly did it 3 years ago.
I know.
But
you had it backwards. When the Vikings beat someone, they never go on to win the Super Bowl.
No, that's true.
Well, that's definitely true. So, anyway.
All right, there you go.
Right, well, there you go. That's our
biggest stinkers in the history of the Super Bowl.
Biggest stinkers and a couple of good ones in the history of the Super Bowl.
Some of the worst, best games ever performed by professional athletes.
The worst, best games and best, worst games.
Yeah.
There you go. So,
somewhere there are 1 or 2 people who agree with me.
There you go. I'm sure there are.
A couple of sick.
All right.
Not.
And
we all agreed with Super Bowl 5. That was
Well,
yeah. Oh, that was just horrible. But all right. All right. That is our top 10 list for this week, and our last NFL top 10 list for the 2021 NFL season.
Until John starts talking about the mock drafts.
Another month we'll have best mock drafts, and then we'll have best trading.
Well, by then we'll have baseball lists and
greatest. Will we?
Well, you know what? If we're we won't be at a short attention span for basketball lists. So we could do a couple. We never have. I don't think we've done a hockey list yet.
No, we're not going to.
All right. And on that note, we're not going to do any old balls because old balls usually ties into the list, and
that list was just filled with old balls.
There was a lot of old balls in that list, so killed 2 birds with 1 stone tonight on that. So, all right, we want to talk some NBA, or we want to save it for next week and just
the Nets are up by 3.
Let's talk the Nets trade. They got rid of Harden. He goes to Philly.
Oh yeah, that's right. We did have to talk about that. Let's talk about the trade. Yeah,
they get Curry, which I think is great. I love Seth Curry, the lesser of 2 Currys, but not by a whole lot actually. If you look, certainly from outside.
Whoa. By a ton, but.
Well, I don't mean volume. I mean,
still a great player for the Nets to pick up.
Yeah. You look at his percentage. He's not as good as his brother, but he's pretty damn good.
Well, I'm saying it's not
compared to a lot of other people.
It's not an indictment against him. It's just that his brother's one of the according to Stephen A. Smith, the best player in the history of the NBA. Other than Michael Jordan. But no, that's Seth Curry again, 20 points tonight. And Julius Randle again, they're putting up the numbers, but
31 points.
The Knicks are
thus far.
Yeah, I mean this is a little bit of a better defensive showing for the Knicks, but yeah, it's just yeah. Look at this. Who would have thought this would be the Nets starting lineup?
Unbelievable.
Yeah, and we'll have to see what.
Was there 16 seconds left and they're down by 3?
We're gonna get some.
James Johnson, Andre Drummond, Patty Mills, and Seth Curry. Seth Curry's plus 25 tonight for the Nets.
So if I'd have told you last September before the season started that the Nets will be playing the Knicks in Madison Square Garden in February, and the starting lineup would be Seth Curry, Andre Drummond, Patty Mills, and company, what would you have said?
Well, you never would have said that. So
Well, if I did, what would you have said?
I would have said you were, you okay? Did you have one too many malted caramel IPAs or
Malted caramel IPA. Please, I don't
know.
even want to think about that.
Yeah. But look, the Knicks are. I'm sort of a fan of Tom Thibodeau. I want Tom Thibodeau to be successful, but
Right.
the Knicks are following the same sort of pattern that most Tom Thibodeau teams do. He seems to get their attention for a year or so, and then they just start to dwindle.
Yep.
Nets up by 6 now. It's over.
Yeah.
So good win for the Nets. It'll be interesting to see the Nets once they're, I think, at full strength. So I don't know. At some point down the road, when the psychiatrists come and there's an away game.
That shot was from way downtown too, by the way. That to go up.
We shall see. We shall see. Who knows?
It was like 5 feet from half court.
Yeah.
Yeah, you kind of have to. I don't know. I mean, look, the Nets. Like, what are they? They kind of have to start up. Their management hasn't. They've either got to bring in a coach who's in line with them, or they've done a terrible job of giving Thibodeau the players that he needs, right? And his playbook is written already. They should know better than to do what they're doing.
Look, the NBA is a weird place to coach these days too.
Mm-hmm.
The Celtics. The Celtics beat the Suns, then they lose to the Clippers, and then they beat the 76ers by 48 points, and then they lose tonight to Detroit. It's just it's so hard to pick. Oklahoma City beats the Knicks, they're losing to San Antonio. Minnesota's up on tour. Memphis is losing to Portland. Portland's on a heater now. Throw a bunch of young guys in there, get rid of the old weight, and all of a sudden Portland's on a heater.
Mm-hmm.
So it's odd. It's been an odd NBA season, but we shall see.
Yeah, we will.
What do you guys think overall? Pete, as a Nets fan, do you think this is a win for the Nets, losing Harden but gaining a couple pretty good role players?
Yeah, I think so. I think that's kind of what you need.
Do you want Ben Simmons to play? Is he going to play?
I think he's going to play. I want him to play. I think he's actually probably a pretty good fit for the Nets, and that they have scoring, right?
Is there any time frame on? I haven't really taken. I haven't really kept up with when they're thinking.
It's all kind of I don't know. Kind of hush right now, I guess, or speculative.
Is he even in Brooklyn, or is he?
I think so.
Or are they hiding him somewhere in Flatbush?
They might
He's
have
in
him
an undisclosed location.
They might have him hidden in an apartment somewhere talking with a psychiatrist or whatever. But,
he's got to start in Astoria and work his way up to Brooklyn.
He's got to walk.
That's right.
If you can find the Barclays Center, you can play.
Yeah. I'm sure he could do that.
Well, no, just walking, I'm saying. It's
a long walk.
It's a long walk.
Some good food along the way, though.
Definitely. Absolutely. So, I'll be over that way next Friday.
This is a win for the Nets. Look, they've won 2 in a row now. So,
with none of those players other than Seth Curry, which I think the Nets, the best the Nets got out of this is Seth Curry. I think that's
agree.
Really,
I agree. He does a lot of things well. He's a good defensive
I think
player.
I think the Sixers are going to miss him. I granted they didn't have to get rid of Maxey or a couple other plays, but I think they're going to miss Seth Curry, especially come playoff time.
Yeah, and
I'm not sure Harden automatically makes the Sixers the team to beat in the East.
I don't think they do either.
Well, listen,
he does either.
What?
I don't.
There's a lot of people are way down on Harden with good reason.
I'm not down on Harden. I just
no. But as far as they seem to forget that we were talking about James Harden as an MVP candidate.
You were
last year,
right?
A lot of people were because he came to the Nets, right? And he was out of shape, and he's going to.
Well, he's won MVP before,
Right, but I'm saying he was phenomenal, and he was leading the league in assists, and he was doing everything right. If that James Harden shows up in Philly, they're a much better team.
Right.
If the James Harden, who, listen, is getting a little bit older, and now people are saying, oh, he's not in game shape, and, his skills are eventually, that's what they say about him. He doesn't put in the work. He relies on his skill. He doesn't put in the work. He doesn't put in the work to stay in shape and all that. And eventually, when you get older, your skills deteriorate. So, but if the James Harden, who showed up and was phenomenal and exactly what the Nets needed, shows up to Philly over the next, couple of months or whatever, they're going to be a very, very tough team.
Yeah.
But
Agreed.
That's a big if.
Yeah. I'll tell you one thing NBA wise that I think not a lot of people are talking about. I think you have to seriously put DeMar DeRozan in the MVP conversation this year.
Yeah,
I mean,
I agree.
And look, DeMar DeRozan has had arguably a Hall of Fame career, but he's having his best year as a professional by far this year.
Yeah. 38 points tonight so far.
And they're playing without, Zach LaVine, the Bulls, who were, this was their star of the future. And Chicago's 37-21, about to be 38-21, right?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe. I mean, they're up.
They're up 10 points with a minute
left.
Under 2 minutes left.
I think they're the team to beat in the East. I really do.
You know what? I don't disagree.
Yeah.
I don't disagree with you.
I just think that if Levine can come back, they're going to be a dangerous team to play in the playoffs. Yeah. But we shall see.
We shall. Yeah.
It's a weird NBA year. It's a weird year.
By the way,
and we're not even at the All-Star break yet.
Not even at the All-Star break, yeah.
Just a quick comparison here. Now, obviously, Steph has more points and championships and all that, and he's got an extra, how many seasons? An extra 5 seasons. So, career, though, field goal percentage, Steph Curry, 473. Seth Curry, 476.
Okay.
Free throw percentage, Steph Curry, 908. Seth Curry, 854. 3-point percentage, Steph Curry, 428. Seth Curry, 437.
Wow.
So percentage-wise, they're very close.
Only one of them has to deal with Draymond Green every day. So
that's true. Now, obviously, Steph is much more prolific. Points per game, 24 to 11.
No, look, Seth Curry is a great add on any team.
Yeah, I'm just saying that as far as those shooting percentages,
much like his brother, he's a little bit of a defensive liability, but defense, come on.
Who plays defense anymore?
Yeah, but he can play defense. He's not a matador. He's a decent defensive player.
Plus 25 tonight. That's all you need to know. The Nets are 2-0 with him on the court.
Yeah.
So he's obviously. I think he's the right mindset for this team, and I think that was really. I think it's a fair trade. Really, I think both teams got. I think there's a much more of a question mark with Ben Simmons moving forward than there is with what you're going to get with James Harden.
Yeah, you did trade one head case for another.
Right. I was just going to say,
a different sort.
If my whole take on it is, I think you're right. I think it is a fair trade, but my whole take on it is, if Ben Simmons can come in and not be an offensive liability and play some decent D and be a role player be the role player that he can be, and Seth Curry and Drummond and the rest of them actually, I think this actually could work in the Nets' favor for what Harden was doing.
You were going to lose Harden no matter what to free agency, so you got something for him,
right? But not even for the future. Right now, this season, I think it can work in the
NBA. That's all you have to. That's all you can really worry about is. I mean, you can't. What sport could you really build for the future? You can't.
Right.
Yeah, well, Drummond had 19 rebounds tonight.
Yeah, he adds a lot of toughness and defensive presence. The Nets were definitely thin, especially with Lopez going down. So this helps them out quite a bit.
And you can put Aldridge. He doesn't have to play center.
Aldridge doesn't have to play center, and you got some bodies once you get into the playoffs against Giannis and against Embiid. Sure. And then if they do make the finals, it's probably going to be at least you're going to see DeAndre Ayton or Rudy Gobert or one of those guys. Mm-hmm. So this helps out. Yeah, this helps out.
Now just think about this. Now, of course, Everybody's got to get healthy and stay healthy. But Kevin Durant, who's the other guy they already have who's hurt?
Kyrie
Best
Irving.
3-point shooter. No, the best 3-point shooter in the league last year.
Well, he's gone, isn't he? Joe.
Is he gone for the season?
He was traded, wasn't he?
Who are you talking about?
Joe Jackson.
Joe Harris? Joe.
No, who was the Nets?
Joe Harris.
Joe Jackson.
Joe Jackson.
He was stepping out. Yeah.
All right, so
back for the three.
Take him out of the. So you got Durant, you got Kyrie on the away games, you got Patty Mills, you got Seth Curry. A lot of outside shooting.
Mm-hmm.
But again, they all have to get healthy and stay healthy.
Yeah.
Well, the question mark is with Simmons coming in, do you bring him in off the bench? I think he's kind of an interesting guy to do so. Although maybe you bring in Aldridge and Mills off the bench, and you still have Blake Griffin, whose time has obviously gone down quite a bit.
Yeah, but that's kind of what you want,
right?
Blake Griffin, right? You don't want to have to lean on him.
No. I think LaMarcus Aldridge. I think they can go small or big. I like Aldridge coming in. I like starting Drummond actually. Joe Harris, I guess, is still on the Nets, but
he's hurt. He's hurt.
He kind of sucked in the playoffs though, so let's leave him out. Right. Claxton. I mean, the Nets are all of a sudden a little deeper than they were. They got rid of Millsap, which I thought was good.
Ronnie.
Ronnie Millsap. They got rid of him. And look, this is all going to come down to matchups and who can play defense and get the ball to Kevin Durant.
Right.
Look, having Seth Curry out there is good. Patty Mills, I think, is a good distributor. Aldridge is a guy who can put in some good minutes and has a lot of playoff experience. At the end of the day, you want Ben Simmons to be a lockdown defender on the other team's best wing and or two guard or point guard. I think with Kyrie in there, I think you can see the Nets go small and have Simmons kind of play a three, and maybe on the defensive end either cover the point guard or the two guard. So they're going to have some flexibility.
Yep.
I mean, I think this certainly helps them from a defensive.
It definitely helps them from a defensive standpoint, and like I said, that coupled with the fact that the role players they got. And losing the attitude of Harden, who was not playing the way he did when he got here last year.
And who knows how much of that was injury or how much of that was his
him.
Disinterest.
Right, exactly.
Right.
Wanting to get traded.
I think they're actually, the Nets are in a better position now than they were.
Yeah, and I mean,
last week.
Obviously, Durant. I look. Harden, I think, was fed up with Kyrie. I think that was really the problem. Is he was fed up with Kyrie? Too. I don't blame him for that. I think everybody's fed up with
either.
Kyrie.
Yeah, a lot of people are fed up with Kyrie.
And I think he realized that. Hey, I think Harden really does want to win a championship, and yeah, I think he's just the extreme example of a modern athlete who is going to literally
dictate where he's going to go,
jump ship in the middle of the.
See, I'm out of here. I'm going there. Well, you're under contract here. No.
Well,
I'm
still
going.
Hasn't left port.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And the other thing is now, I mean, still only 3 games separating the top 6 spots, at least in the win column. The Nets are far enough out of it now. There's 6 back in the loss, 7 back in the win from Miami. Like, just win more than you lose. That might, move up a couple of spots. Like they don't
get out of the play-in if you can.
Right, get out of the play-in, but you don't have to really try and get back to number 1 because Miami, Chicago, Milwaukee, Cleveland, and the Sixers. I
think the Nets will get ahead of Boston.
They're all gonna right. But
I think they'll get ahead of. I think the Nets will wind up in the 6th spot.
That's right, and that might be the best place for them. Forget about
unless they
get
Milwaukee or somebody like that in the first round.
Well, I mean, you're going to run into them anyway if you get far enough, most likely. So, I think that could be good for them to not. They don't have to be close to the top. They can be like a little poor man's San Antonio.
This is true. This is true.
You know what I mean? You don't have to win the division to win the NBA championship.
San Antonio did win the division.
Well, they did, but not all the time.
Yeah.
So, all right. Any hockey?
No.
Teams play.
How about those Rangers?
Rangers are they're falling a little bit.
I have no idea.
Pittsburgh's coming on. Pittsburgh's got
Crosby.
Yeah, Pittsburgh's and the Lightning. Penguins and the Lightning are both 70 points.
Rangers are in third.
Rangers are in third. But who's got the most points? 72 points in the entire league. That would be the
Colorado Avalanche.
The Avalanche. So Rangers are down 4 points behind, 1 point behind Carolina in third, and 4 points behind.
And the U.S. hockey team bowed out to Slovakia.
But the women's team is playing in the finals against Canada.
Yes,
that's always tough, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Hey,
they beat Finland, right, in the semi.
I watched ice dance. I watched ice dancing the other night, and I learned that there's something called the double Twizzler, and then I also learned that that's one of the options that Pete offers on his OnlyFans page.
Right. Well, if it's either the double Twizzler or monobob, so
that's right.
You can have either or.
The monobob, boy, there are some interesting characters competing in the monobob, huh?
Oh yeah,
yeah. Well, good. I mean, it looked like some slightly, not I want to say old, but not super young women winning the monobob. Good for them,
absolutely.
A Canadian who became an American.
Yeah. Did you see that? Yeah, I mean, it says they're USA flag, boom, boom, Alberta, Calgary, Canada.
I thought Canada had the best looking monobobs. I like the light blue with the Canadian.
The
bob itself.
Bob itself. Gotcha.
Yeah. This sled.
The bobsled itself.
Well, listen. I don't know if you got any. Those things weigh like 350 pounds.
I know. That's why. Did you ever see the thighs on those?
Yeah. I mean,
they just picked them up and put them on their shoulder and walked
away. You're running on ice to get it started too.
Right.
So.
Look. Let me just say something. If you're in the Winter Olympics and you're in any of the luge, you're a weirdo. I mean, in a good way. In a good way. I'm not saying it's a bad way. The Winter Olympics are a weird event. They're a weird event.
Yeah,
they're like great.
Stuff
they're a weird event.
Your parents wouldn't let you do as a kid, or
Yeah, if you're in the Winter Olympics, you go ice fishing for fun.
It's like Action Park.
Yeah,
only sanctioned,
only cold and death defying.
Yeah.
Right.
And I also just like the guys.
So is Action Park at some points.
Yeah, exactly. I also just like the guys who are just hanging out, like just hanging out on the side of the tracks and the bobsled, just hanging out.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like, are they just there in case? Are they? Yeah.
I don't know.
Picking up trash on the side of the road. I mean, I have no idea what's going on.
Emotional support. I don't know.
They're emotional support. Yeah.
It's just China. There's
throwing their cigarette butts on the.
There's no emotional support.
No, they need emotional support.
Well, there you go.
I'm
not sure if I needed emotional support, I'd be standing in between the tracks of the monobob event. But who knows?
Who knows? So, anyway,
and that I've literally watched 2 hours of the Olympics, so that's.
I've watched a little bit more than that, but not much. Maybe 3.5 total.
When does the U.S. play Canada in women's hockey?
Tomorrow.
I don't know. Soon? I think I saw today that they were in. It could be tonight.
Wednesday night. No,
there we go.
Wednesday night.
Already happened.
11 p.m. Eastern.
There you go. So it's tomorrow. There.
Right now.
Well, no, here it's today.
All right.
Well, it's in China, so it's Thursday there.
Don't be that.
Call someone in China and find out.
I knew I saw Thursday when I saw it.
Got a bet down.
There you go. Call that. You got 35 minutes. You can do that.
There we go.
Yeah, I might watch that a little bit, actually.
Sure, why not?
What the hell?
There's no monobob on. I'm watching some hockey.
There's no mono. The only problem is watching that monobob. There's no slider.
What's the ice Swiffer? What is that?
The ice Swiffer.
What is that called?
Curling.
There you go.
The ice.
The
Swiffer.
Brush. Yeah. Ice brooming.
There was I saw some commercial, whatever, or maybe it was. I know it wasn't a commercial. I think it was on. It was one of those reels on Instagram, right? And it was a bowl. Somebody slid across a bar, bowl of chili, and they pushed it. And somebody took a coaster and went like that, really, in front as the chili was sliding across.
Obviously, it was not Cincinnati chili.
It was not Cincinnati chili. No.
Did you see that meme I sent you?
That was actually great. Yeah. That was actually great. Did you, Pete? Did you see it?
No.
It was Joe Burrow comes to the sideline and trainer gives him a refreshing bowl of Cincinnati chili. The Onion was on fire for the Super Bowl, by the way. If you're bored and you want to look at some good articles, the Onion was great.
What did you send that in? I'm looking for it. I'm gonna throw it up
I
there
don't
real
know.
quick. Oh, you know what? It was on Facebook.
Instagram.
That was on Facebook. There we go. I can't. This is funny. Share. Boom.
Yeah, that
there we go.
Pretty good.
The Monobob. All right.
You guys want to do an over-under?
Oh, sure.
All right. I got a quick
Absolutely.
one. All right. So I have this chair here that I sit on.
Oh, boy.
And
trombone finally stopped.
Yeah. Oh, thank God. I mean, I love to hear him play. So this is a chair made for heavy people. It's got 500-pound weight limit.
Wow, good for you.
Yeah, not special order, but So, but I have carpets in the room here, and one of the things about chairs and heavy people is tough to move over the carpets, and I don't want to put down one of those mats because it just. So one of the things they suggest is that you replace your wheels, your typical chair wheels, with the rollerblade wheels.
Oh,
which they actually, because you just pull it out. So
fair enough.
I have done that, and here you see the regular, typical, poor lighting chair wheel.
Right.
Hang on, I can fix this.
And you replaced it with?
There we go.
That's the old one?
That's the old one.
Right.
So I replaced the wheels. So here's the over-under.
Okay.
How many wheels did I have to change out?
On your chair?
On the chair. The over-under.
Now, does that count as one wheel right there, or is that two?
This would be one. So it would be
one
how
unit.
How
many wheel units?
How many units?
I think you got one of those fivers.
The over-under is 4.5.
I'm going over.
I'm going over too.
So
I think you got one of those newfangled teen chairs.
All right. Well, I saved the old wheels. This light is bothering me. So we have 1,
right,
2, 3,
yep,
4, 5. Very good. Of course, there's 5 because it's a fat guy's chair.
There you go.
And 4 of the bars would just bend.
Could have been 6, but
been
when you said the over was 4.5, I was like, I was going to go with 5 no matter what. Because
had you went 5.5, I probably would have said over, and he would have changed it to under. So
interesting. Interesting.
There you go. Right.
I almost said 5.5.
There you go.
Almost.
Yeah.
Good over.
I think I had planned, but I couldn't remember.
There you go.
Couldn't remember what I was going to do.
Here
Because,
is,
it was like 2 hours. Well, more than 2 hours ago.
Gotcha.
Before the show, so a week and a half ago, I've thought of it.
There you go.
So there we go. Just a quick one, because I know we all want to get out of here early.
Exactly.
All right, I'm gonna go.
We never do.
Here's the Cincinnati chili, the refreshing Cincinnati chili being thrown to Joe Burrow right there. There you go. So. Here, cool off with this.
They should do that to fighters.
There you go. Here,
in the ring.
Eat this, you'll cool off. There you go. That was pretty
All
good.
right.
Anyway,
all right. Take some deep breaths.
All right.
Or dump it on the coach.
Exactly.
The winning coach at the end of the game.
That would be better than dumping on him. All right. Anyway, we'll wrap it up for today. At this point, we want to thank everybody for watching. And for those of you just listening to the audio podcast, thanks for listening. Don't forget to visit our website, www.getonwithitpodcast.com. That's getonwithitpodcast.com. And please remember, like us and follow us on all of our social media, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Just search for the Get On With It podcast. And, of course, all of the shows are available on YouTube as well on the Logger Room channel. Remember, we go live with the video podcast on both Facebook and YouTube every Wednesday night around 7:30 Eastern. For those of you who just want to listen to the audio podcast, you can do so on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, TuneIn, Stitcher, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music Podcast, and iHeartRadio as well. And if you haven't done so already, please subscribe to one or more of those feeds, and you will never miss a show. Again, thanks for following along with us. Have a great rest of your week. Have a wonderful weekend. Watch the rest of the Olympics. Check out some basketball. And we will talk to you next week, folks. Take care. Cheers.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
See ya.
How's this for lighting? Better?